across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
I still get a kick out of that drummer with the hair going all over.
I love the metal, you know. Hey,
I know.
metal, baby.
How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Jade, how are you feeling?
Hey, listen, you know, it's been a bit of a week, but I think I'm coming out of it.
Good. Turn your mic up a little. Hang on.
Can you turn
Say
it
something.
up? I think I
Yeah.
can turn it up. Hang on.
I can turn it up for you if you
I
want.
can turn some gain up. I just got to make sure which. How's
Yeah.
that? Tell me when.
Yeah, you're right. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. How's everybody doing out there? Let me see who we got in here.
Oh, we got a few.
Hey, Pam, what's up, girlfriend?
We got a bunch.
Commander's in the house. How you doing? Hey, Jimmy from Philly's in the house. What's up, brother? My sister Carrie Ann is in the house. Wow, I got a whole family going. More fam. What's up, Bass? Good to see you, man. Who else is here? Let me see. Yeah, Anglo-Saxon. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. What a week, huh?
Tell you, it just doesn't stop.
Louie, you here? Or you over in Rumble? He said he's going to go to Rumble. Hey, what's up, Chris? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, we got at the bottom of the hour between 6:30 and 7. We're going to have Mark Davis. Man, does he have? You guys want to see this? He's got so much going on. I got 6 things here he wants to talk about tonight, and every one of them is like a top story. You know, the guy's like really connected now. You know. And he's going to come on. He's going to talk to us. He'll answer questions, whatever. He always does. He's always a great guest. So let me go over, when Mark's done, we'll go over the plethora of news again. What a week again, right? First one, someone call 911. Trump just dropped Obama with a 1-2 right hook, and it's pretty good, actually. A story went out. The mainstream media tried to lie about Adam Schiff, saying, there's really not much in that case. Well, The DOJ denies MSNBC's claim, saying that the mortgage fraud case is not strong enough to bring. It's bullshit. When you have a swampy U.S. attorney that says, "Oh, I don't want to," like it happened in Virginia, right? And they fired them. There were 2 of them that they fired because they didn't want to bring charges against Comey, and so they fired their asses. Like, what are you talking about? He committed crimes. You got to go after him. And so in this case, the media, MSNBC, which stands for More Silly Nonsense by Chicks, is trying to stand up for old pencil neck. Yeah, Caroline Levitt. What's that?
You got to find a new acronym now. I think they call them MS Now.
Yeah, that's what it is, MS Now. Yeah, but I like the More Silly Nonsense by Chicks.
Most of us call it BS now, but
yeah, it's MS Now because NBC said, we're going to distance ourselves from you guys.
And not even we can deal with this.
Yeah, not even we can put up with this. And we're NBC, for God's sake, right? Caroline Levitt crushes reporters' tantrum with previous White House renovation receipts. Now, if you guys saw my video this week, I think I pretty much slammed the left on the ballroom renovation. You know, it's just grotesque, said the guy that I think murdered someone in Florida, Joe Scarborough. Allegedly, fact checkers, allegedly, right? And I mean, what jackasses! Like almost every president has done something to leave their mark, you know, and some like Bill Clinton left different kinds of marks, but we won't get into that. But almost every one of them has done something to the White House to leave their mark, and they're acting like this ballroom, which they need. I mean, think about it. Trump's explanation was, okay, we're the strongest, most powerful country in the world, and our Capitol building for the White House, right? That we got to meet dignitaries and ambassadors and kings and presidents, prime ministers in tents on the lawn, outside on the in tents. Are you kidding me? So and then they're saying, well, he said he wasn't going to touch the main part of the White House. Well, the East Wing is not the main part of the White House. Where all the work is done is on the West Wing, and it's all the way over there. You know, it's like on the opposite end of the whole campus, right? They're just
Rich. I mean,
a bunch of jackasses.
All it is TDS. Whatever he does,
that's what it is. Yeah, Jimmy
he does is bad.
My brother went to the No Kings thing in Philly, and in fact, in my video about the No Kings, I used part of his video. I just cut the volume down because I did it as B-roll. But
did he take his sign again?
Well, he walked around shouting, "Trump is king! Trump is king!" People are looking at him like he's nuts. But I knew from the beginning of that, I knew from the beginning of that thing that it was going to be a lame duck thing. It was like there was nothing to it. There was no enthusiasm. It was all boomers, you know, and they were just like, yeah, we're here. It's our last hurrah before we all get fitted for our wheelchairs and braces.
And
it's just
it was
unbelievable.
over by like 2:00 in the afternoon.
About a lot of bills. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you know what Bill said? You know for sure. I mean, he's sitting in he's sitting at the desk in the White House, and he looks up and he said, "What do you mean she kept the dress and never watched it?"
You know what? You know what's funny about that? They were Vernon. What was his name? Vernon Jones. He was a guy that was like running a lot back then for the Clinton campaign. Well, the Clinton regime actually, but they were prepared to put stories out to everyone, to every media outlet, that she was a young girl, immature, infatuated with working for the president. And so she made all these stories up. And they were about to throw her ass under the bus, say that she was a little crazy, you know, and they had to get rid of her, you know. And Vernon even offered her a job, like a high-priced job, just to keep her mouth shut. And they were just about to hit that button, and someone went, "Stop!" Because the word came in and said, "I have a presidential stain on the blue dress."
Yeah, that's when Bill said, "What do you mean she kept the dress?"
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, Shazam, does she really?" Yeah, Vernon Jordan. Yeah, worked for Clinton. That was him. Thank you, Chris. That was him. Yeah, he did that.
What I wonder, though, about these No Kings protests...
It was a fake protest. You're right, Bass. Go ahead.
Perhaps some of our overseas neighbors can educate me. You're having a No Kings protest in Great Britain.
Well, no, they didn't call it No Kings. They just like Canada, they called it No Tyrants because they have a king as well.
I was going to say...
Same king.
doesn't no king
Cigar, anyone?
no kings in Britain?
Yeah.
Isn't that curious?
Well, what did you guys in the UK? What did you guys call it? Because I know Canada was no tyrants, and what was it? I forget what it was in the UK. What they called it, because they couldn't call it no kings. Go to jail. For that.
Yeah,
You have no First Amendment rights over there.
Anglo, you're right. Cigar anywhere?
Cigar, anyone?
You know where
King sausage hands. Yeah.
You know what Clinton thinks is a humidor.
Yeah. It's the United States of America, and I think everyone has the right to get a little head. I mean, to get ahead a little. Yeah. All right. So back to this. So we have now Caroline Levitt. Oh, yeah, we already did that one. Let's go to this one. Mike Johnson. Dems are trying to blame Republicans for healthcare crisis that they created. Get this. Joe Biden, AG Merrick Garland, and FBI Director Chris Wray personally approved opening Arctic frost investigation into Trump. Unreal. Dem officials are incentivizing anti-ICE violence. So there you go. You have a political party that is forcing a shutdown, a government shutdown. And I heard today, I was listening to Andrew Wilkow and Wilkow Majority on Sirius XM, and he played a clip. There was a woman Democrat. She was a member of the House, I believe, and she was on a show, and she was talking about how Donald Trump's this and that, and then they were talking about the shutdown, and she said, well, the shutdown is the only leverage we have. What? She gave it away. She slipped. She slipped. In other words, she let it be known that, we're using this shutdown as leverage to get things that we want. And the problem is it's not working for them because they never met Donald Trump. I mean, and let me tell you something, Jade, let me just get this in.
Yeah.
If the Republican House did not send a perfectly clean CR, they might have got away with it. But since it's a clean CR, what freaking leverage do they have? We want stuff for illegals. Healthcare, $1.2 trillion. That's not for illegal. Then what's it for? It's for healthcare. Well, who's it going to? Illegals.
And it just came out that the average spending on Medicare is 5%.
What's up, Ludwig?
In California, it's 35%. You know where that goes?
Oh, yeah, of course.
That goes to the free clinics that the guys walk in with their little Medicaid cards.
Yep. Well, you know what? They said that once once the border was shut down under Trump, within like 3 months, the hospitals throughout America that used to be completely flooded, like you could go in there now. You could walk into a hospital, an emergency room, and go, where the hell is everybody? Because it's not flooded anymore with illegals.
Yeah, because
the illegals, they were using it. They go there every single day for stuff.
Yeah, they can't get like PCPs. They can't get a doctor. So what they do is they go to the emergency room.
Right. That's what they do. And thanks to that turncoat, Richard Nixon, a hospital can't turn you away for not being able to pay.
And the interesting thing is, back to what you said about they've never met anyone like Donald Trump before.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because what they were expecting, and they're still ramming their heads against the wall trying to accept this, but they expected Mitt Romney. They expected George Bush. They expected somebody to stand there clutching their pearls and saying,
"What's up, Chris?
Oh, I guess we better be bipartisan. We better get in there." Yeah.
Nope.
And
not going to happen this time.
And then when they're in power, they say, "Fuck off." Excuse me.
Yeah, they do. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, they come in power, and they tell you,
"Yeah,
go take a long walk on a short pier."
Yeah,
and
well, as soon as they lose power, the next day is can we do some power sharing here? How about some bipartisanship?
How about some bipartisanship?
Bipartisanship to them is we get everything that we want, and you are happy to give it to us. That's bipartisanship.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when they're in power, they get everything they want. When they're not in power, they get half of what they want until they're in power again. They get the rest. It's bizarre. They've never met anyone like Donald Trump. He's not being very polite.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
and he shouldn't.
Spanish Chicken, what's up? Good to see you, man. So let's continue down. Forget the nonsense. Republicans are not facing electoral death in 2026. They're all, I mean, the Dems and their sycophants, their bootlicking sycophants in the media are trying to say, oh, the Republicans are just going to get wiped out in the midterm. Just wiped out. I mean, come on. Bullshit. They're not.
I don't think so.
No, they're not. Now, normally, the opposition party to the president would win 30 seats normally in the House. Maybe a couple in the Senate. I don't think they're going to get any big seats in the Senate.
Well, especially
because we control more states now.
Especially if the redistricting.
Yeah, they're going to get like 25 from that. I don't know how they ruled because they don't tell us until June. Damn it! But I don't know how they ruled on the Calais case. I don't know.
Yeah, the voting rights section 2.
Section 2. Yeah, they're going to wipe it out because it's racist. Come on. It's racist.
Yep.
Racist AF. See what I did there? All right, this is awesome. After directing the deep state's terror campaign against President Trump and the American people, former Obama CIA Director John Brennan now claims he's a victim of political persecution. Can you believe these people? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
But, Trump is doing this. Trump and his people are doing this in a pretty smart way because
they
what they need to do, ramp it up slowly.
And do you know who I give most of the credit to for the perception? Caroline Leavitt.
For the perception, I'd agree.
But Caroline Leavitt, because she is so good. Look how young she is too. She is so good at her job. She's so good at her job. Did you see? Speaking of the exact opposite of her, Jen Psaki. Did you see what the hell she did to JD Vance's wife?
Yeah,
the other day. We're gonna play it. What a total freaking scumbag! There you go. Researchers find TikTok algorithm favors pro Mondami content. There you go.
This is my shocked face.
Yeah, I know.
This is shocked.
I know. Stephen Miller slams Robert De Niro for Nazi smear. A sad, bitter, broken old man. What do you hear? The DOJ warns California officials to stand down or face prosecution after threats to arrest ICE agents. This is what doesn't make any goddamn sense, right? So you had Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama, who sued the state of Arizona when they came up with a law. They passed it constitutionally in their state that said that, okay, our police officers will now be able to arrest illegal aliens, and we will hand them over at the federal building, I guess in Phoenix, right? And they said, and they did it perfectly. Obama lied about it. You could be with your job and having some ice cream, and a police officer can come up and ask you for your status. It's bullshit. Now, what he didn't say at the time, Obama, was that his federal officers could do that. ICE agents don't have to have a pretense to pull you over and ask for your status. They don't. It's not written into their law. But in the state of Arizona, they did, right? They said it has to be a secondary thing. So in other words, if you get pulled over and they say, can I see a license? And you show the officer your license, it's over. He can't ask your status. But Obama lied about it. But so states, according to the Democrats, then states do not have the right. They don't have the authority. And Obama, rightfully so, pointed out that Article 1, Section 8, the enumerated powers, actually gave the power of to a what is it? A rule of natural rule. No, it is whatever, a rule of naturalization. It gives them all the authority on immigration. Okay, but then when Donald Trump comes along, the entire world changes, and they say, oh well, states and cities have the right to do sanctuaries.
Yeah.
What?
Let me finish a thought. I was just a minute ago. What I was going to say is that Trump's team is doing this correctly. They're establishing very good basis for each step, and they're ramping it up slowly so that when we go into the 2026 midterms, they're going to have, that evidence come out. I don't think we're talking an October surprise. I think we're talking like a June through October.
It's going to be a lot. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. And, they're still crying on the left, and the bootlicking sycophants in the media are still crying. It's a revenge tour. Well, maybe it is. Hey, what do I know? I'm not inside Trump's head. Maybe it is, right? But unlike what they did to Trump, right? They actually committed crimes, didn't
Okay,
they?
but what does that whole thing about revenge tour mean? Because does that mean if you accuse somebody of a crime that you can then go ahead and do that crime and get away with it? Because you can
Right.
point at them and say, you can't
Right.
do that because it's revenge.
Right.
No, I don't think it works like that.
I know. Listen, I got to go out and come right back in because my screen got all screwed up. I tried to zoom in on the backstage screen and it's all screwed up. So I'll be right
Oh
back. 2
dear.
seconds.
Oh
I know.
well, I'll be here.
I know.
I'll be talking
All right,
to
just
everybody. All right, as we usually do when Rich goes away, let's talk about Rich. Oh, I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to say about Rich. He's a good guy. Let's see. The next story was Trump heads to Asia. Looks like he is going to be trying to get
all right. I'm back.
eye to eye.
All right, it's perfect now.
With
Hey.
Xi. I'm just reading the headline for the next story.
Oh, okay, cool.
Looks like and you interrupted me. So it looks
Oh, wow,
like
this thing is
looks like
still
Trump's
screwed
going to
up.
go face to face with Xi and make a deal, and that's what we need to do.
Oh my God, this thing is like screwed up.
I told you earlier. You were
No,
having
you didn't
trouble.
tell me anything. It's not the mic. It's holy
Well, no,
crap.
it wasn't the mic. It wasn't the mic. It was synchronization.
No. This
synchronization.
this has nothing to do with that. This is
Okay.
that the screen, you either maximize it or holy crap. I don't want to maximize. See, maximize it, I can see everything, but I can't see the board. This is really messed up.
Oh dear.
Yes. Hey, what's up, Gina? How you doing? Hey, Linda. Good to see you. Let me see. How do I get out of this? Wow. All right. I gotta
If
go
you
out.
need to,
I
I
gotta
can-
go out. I gotta go out and come back in again. Stay in. I'll be right
All
out.
right.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Forgive me.
Okay.
Here we go.
So what's the next story? Something about Hakeem Jeffries issues a warning to anyone behind Trump's White House ballroom. Now that's totally screwed up. These people think they have a clue. Trump is misusing the White House. It's privately funded. He's putting money into it. A bunch of investors are putting, well, I don't know if they're investors or donors, putting money into it. This is not tax money. The American people are not paying for this.
All right. I'm back and it's perfect. Woohoo!
And I just read the title. I just started the next story
Oh, did you?
about
All right.
Hakeem. About Hakeem.
Yeah, hang on. Let me do Jabber House. Whew. Man.
Okay, so
That was rough. That was like, wow. It's like the screen that I see on the air is like this big and everything else is like, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Sorry about that, guys.
okay, so drop down below Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
I already read that title.
All right, let me pull it up. So Hakeem. Yeah, what a jackass.
You're too far.
Oh, I thought you. Where's Hakeem?
Right below President Xi. What the heck?
President
What's going
Xi. What are you looking at? I don't have anything. Hold on. Oh, right there. Oh, okay. So you read Trump's head.
Yeah. There you go. There's Xi, and then below
Right.
that, yeah.
But
There we
did
go.
you read this? Trump's Asia. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I did.
You
I
see it
did.
anyway. All right.
The
Cool.
first time you went out, I read that.
All right. I know. I've been out so much. Grossly misrepresented. Disgraced ex-FBI leader Andrew McCabe tries to defend targeting GOP senators. He targeted GOP senators. He did it. Just like John Brennan did it. And John Brennan lied to Congress about it when he was CIA director. And it was only Republican senators for both of these idiots. And then John Brennan had to admit to Congress that he lied, but no charges were ever filed. Really?
What do you think is going to happen there? Because they're playing McCabe off against Ray.
Against Ray? Yeah, well, McCabe was fired because he leaked. He should have been fired for Operation Crossfire Hurricane stuff, but he was fired because he leaked to the media. That's
the whole thing.
And then Biden brought him back after the Trump years. Biden brought him back with full back pay. Can you believe that? with full back pay. In other words, it was, well, yeah, we didn't steal an election and there was no Russian collusion conspiracy. Donald Trump got elected because Putin helped him. That's what that whole thing was.
But,
and CNN hired him. You know, I mean, it's such an incestuous thing.
But what's going on now? McCabe testified to Congress that Ray told him to do what he did.
Right.
Ray testified that he never did such a thing.
Right. Well, I think they're both lying, if you can believe that. I think they both are about certain things because neither one of them are honorary. Neither one of them. They lied so damn much.
No, but Ray either was in charge of it or not. And that means one of them are lying in that about that specific thing.
Yeah. So which one is lying? The answer is yes. Anonymous donor gives $130 million to cover shortfall in troop pay during shutdown. That's the next one I guarantee the Democrats are going to freak out on. You can't use outside money to pay the military. So in other words, they should not be able to pay their bills.
Yeah, they already freaked out about it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that'll be a big one for them. $130 million. Unreal. Trump says he'd have final say on money. He seeks over past federal investigations into his conduct. In other words, he had to pay money for his lawyers, right? Over phony, the whole Jack Smith thing and others. So he wants them to pay. FDA stayed silent as internal reports about potential Tylenol risks piled up. Why did they stay silent? Because I think the last 11 FDA directors? No, I think it was like 6. The last 6 FDA directors, when they retired, got cushy, no-show, $1 million a year jobs with the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, the FDA used to have some respectability.
Right, and remember when in North Carolina, when it hit, and everybody said Joe Biden didn't tell FEMA to not help people with a Trump sign on their lawn. Well, it's been proven that he did. It's true. Biden's FEMA abandoned Trump support. Now, can you look? I could not imagine a Republican president saying, if they got an Obama sign, fuck them. They did that. They told people in their worst possible moment. When you see some of those neighborhoods, they're not neighborhoods anymore. They had some that was like a neighborhood of streets and whatnot, and they came down, and it was nothing. It looked like all asphalt because it was nothing but the water that came washed everything away, and it was the soot and the rock that just came with it in its wake. And it was like there was nothing there, nothing, and it was a whole like several neighborhoods of houses and whatnot. And yet they said if they have a Trump sign, screw them, ignore them. Unbelievable. Then we got the whole plethora here. So I'm going to see when I think Mark's going to come in probably in a few minutes. So I'll do one story. Let me see. Did I miss anybody? Let me see. Everybody's here. Yeah. Yeah, Mark's got some really good stuff to talk about. Some stuff he's involved in and I mean, it includes Project Veritas. I mean, there's a lot really cool stuff he's going to talk about. And it's all the shenanigans going on in Georgia with their elections laws and all the corruption they have. Seen anything about Trump moving the... No, I haven't. I didn't see... Oh, they'll lose their minds over that. The Democrats right now, I could almost feel sorry for them. They're scum, so I don't. But I could almost feel sorry for them because they have nothing. Think about that. They lost all power. Okay, so they have nothing. And every way you watch, dollar store Obama in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. You watch him try to like dig his way out with his little speeches and whatnot, and just everybody's like, "Yeah, all right, brother, go away." Because they don't want to listen to him because he's so full of crap. The things that he's saying, and then he always comes out and says, Donald Trump is at the lowest point he's ever been with the American people. The American people know that the Republicans are harming them.
Keep saying it. Keep saying it.
I know. It's like, wait a minute. You're the a-holes that keep the government shut down, which, you know what? I think this proves one thing. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jade. We don't need the freaking government.
Well, I've said for as long as I can remember, the less the feds do, the better.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Every time they shut it down, I'm like, oh, thank God. They can't ruin our lives anymore then. 9 out of 10 times, look.
But they've only got one thing. They've only got one thing. Orange man bad.
Yeah, Trump. I was just going to say, you're absolutely Trump. That's it. That's all they can do. Trump.
And when he retires in 2028, what are they going to do?
Right.
What are they going to do? They got nothing. They'll have to come up with something for JD at that point.
Right.
But I really want, I think I said this on one of your videos.
Right.
I want President Trump to come out and say, it's really, really bad to bathe in piss.
And they'll come out, oh, who do you think you are? There's some Wiccan religions that like to bathe in piss.
He's got to do that. You know what?
I know. He has to.
At least we'd be able to identify the worst of the whack jobs by the stench.
All right, guys, we have Mark backstage now. I'm going to see if I can bring I don't think his camera's set up yet, but he did enter the backstage. So I'll bring him in a minute. I'll let him get set up. This is going to be good. There he is. All right, everybody. This is Mark Davis. A lot of you guys know him already. He's an elections expert from Georgia. He's the guy that the Trump legal team asked to analyze the data after 2020. He found some cool stuff. Tonight, he's got some really good stuff. Here you are, Mark. How you doing, brother?
All right. How you, man?
All right, man. What's going on?
Gosh, all kinds of stuff. I want to start by apologizing if I'm a little foggy this evening. I have to take allergy meds in both the spring and the fall here, so
yeah,
I'm medicated right now. But
yeah, that's all right.
Anyway, where do you want to start?
Well, you had some testimony that you had to do. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, I went before the House Blue Ribbon Committee on election procedures on October the 2nd, and I testified about felony residency violations that were occurring in our elections. And I didn't mention this during the hearing, but what I was testifying on was basically the same residency issues that President Trump raised in his Georgia lawsuit. And much of it was the exact same data.
Yep.
So anyway, I sent you the video of that. I don't know if everybody wants to watch it. It's about 15 minutes, unless you want to watch me argue with Representative Draper.
That's always fun.
Yeah, I had a Democrat that attacked me after my presentation. She was a joy. But,
when did you send that?
I sent it to you a few days ago. I can send it to you now. It'll take me just a minute.
Hold on. You may want to clip this on the show. Yeah, hang on. I think I got it.
You got it?
Was this the right angle news thing you were talking about? Oh, yeah. You said, no, you said, thank God. That was where Trump finally got the word of your work down in Georgia. And he put the DOJ on it. I think that was it.
I think that's what happened. I think that was what I said to you privately. But yeah, I think that's what happened.
Let me see.
I've got it right here. Hold on. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, we have this here where you said, thank you, God. And it has President Trump is now calling for the votes stored in Fulton County, Georgia from the 2020 election. One of the deciding counties. Well, they cheat everything. They're like Philly to be reviewed by federal investigators. Finally. Yeah, finally. So that's cool.
All right. So I just sent you a link to it. I don't know if
all
you
right, cool.
Put it
yeah,
on.
let me. Did you text it?
Yeah, I texted it.
All right, cool. Hang on. I'll get you. It'll come through anytime now. Yeah, so I'm waiting for that. Why don't you? Let me see. Hey, 42. Good to see you, brother. How are you? See, 42, Mark, is he has a channel, 42, and it's he's in the UK. And if you ever want to, he's like everybody's poet, okay? But if you ever want to hear some really good stuff, check out. He does live streams. It will be 5:30 our time every Saturday night, and he does live streams where he's a master storyteller, and he goes through the history, and he's got a full chat, and everybody listens. It's like here, everybody has a blast and they're talking, and I don't even know if they're listening to me, and if they are, I appreciate it. But they all have a good time. They're all paying attention because he just has them like riveted. He's like really good at what he does, and we're just really pleased that he's friends of the channel. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, good guy too. All right, let me see if it came through yet. No, I haven't gotten it yet. Oh well. Well, we can move on. Did you want
texted it to your phone?
Yeah, I didn't get it yet.
Let me make
yeah.
sure I hit the trigger.
Well, I have my phone hooked up to my PC as well. Let me see if I got it. It came. I got it here on my phone, but it didn't come through on the PC yet. I'm wondering why. Let me hit refresh. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I didn't know you were going to use the link. Yeah, I could.
I can put it in the comments here, I think.
Yeah, you can. Matter of fact, yeah, you can post it, and then I'll get it.
Figure out how to do that.
Yeah, well, you would have to go to the actual to the stream page. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't come through there. It came through on my. Oh, there it is. Got it. All right, let me stop the. Do you have a particular spot? Because it's like.
Really, the first 15 minutes of it, if you want to watch that. If you don't, I mean, if everybody's bored by it, we can just move on. But it's.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Right. All right. Here we go. I'll bring it up, and we'll listen to what you say. We can get into it. The first several minutes are pretty good. Let me because I was glued to it when it happened. I now, guys, is this the testimony about 2020, or what is this one?
Well, it starts out about 2020, but it goes into corroborating evidence that I've been gathering ever since. So it's really 2020, 2022, and 2024.
What's up, Cyberbully? Mark Dice. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, I'm going to bring this up. Let's play it.
Thank you. All right. Next, we are going to hear from Mr. Mark Davis, President of Data Productions. Mr. Davis, you'll have 15 minutes, and you'll get a warning at 12 minutes. Thank you.
Now, if you want me to stop,
committee
you
for
can
the
explain
opportunity to speak with
let
you
me know.
today.
Okay.
And I'll apologize in advance for doing some reading to you, but some of the issues that I will be presenting are inflammatory, and I want to be careful with my choice of words. My name is Mark Davis, and I'm the president of Data Productions. I've been working with voter data since 1986 and have been supplying candidates with enhanced voter data for nearly 40 years. As a result of that experience, I've been asked to serve as an analyst or expert witness in numerous election cases over the last 23 years. I am also a member of the Georgia Republican Party's Election Confidence Task Force, which has authorized me to speak as a member of that committee today. Before I begin, I'd first like the committee to know that I am not an election denier. I am an analyst who first raised the residency issues I'm here to talk with you about today before the State Election Board and the Secretary of State back in 2002. My position for many years has been that we have systemic irregularities in all of our elections, but in 2020, those rose to the level that they placed the outcome of that election in doubt. But if Kamala Harris had lost Georgia by 11,779 votes, the same would have been true because we had almost the same number of issues. When I talk about systemic irregularities, I'm relying on the Georgia Supreme Court's own definition of that term. It can be found on page 15 of their decision in Smith versus Long County.
In other words, explain irregularities, what you're talking about.
Okay, so there's two paradigms that the Georgia Supreme Court recognizes as grounds to overturn an election. The first is a discrete inquiry into the actual illegal or irregular votes cast. The second is systemic irregularities, where a discrete inquiry just isn't possible. They're either too numerous or the witnesses can't be put on the stand, or for whatever reason, there's no possibility for a discrete inquiry. But in either event, what they're looking for is issues that occur in sufficient numbers to place the outcome of the election in doubt.
Okay.
And the standard there is the margin between the candidates. So in 2020 here in Georgia, that margin was 11,779 votes.
All right, cool. All right.
County, which is a double voting case I was involved in. Second, I'm not here to accuse any particular voter of a crime or to try to make felons out of tens of thousands of my fellow Georgians. I'm just trying to solve a problem. That is not my job to make such accusations or my motivation. But the data I have seen over many years strongly suggests that we have thousands of felony state and federal election law violations occurring in our elections, and that we have had those for decades. Those violations are likely occurring in any state that is subject to the 1993 National Voter Registration Act, also known as the NVRA or the Motor Voter Law. That act forces our nation's secretaries of state to collectively keep millions of voters on their voter rolls who no longer live where they are registered, often for many years. Third, prosecutions for those offenses rarely happen, but when they do, each case requires discrete inquiry. Some voters file permanent changes of address for long-term temporary moves because the post office does not permit people to file temporary changes of address for a period of more than 1 year. Soldiers, college students, or people away on business contracts are examples from that group. But when we look objectively at the results of the analysis I will present today, I hope you will see that it clearly suggests probable cause to investigate these violations. Unfortunately, that same data also suggests that a full investigation would be so massive that as a practical matter, it is very unlikely to ever be done. But we have a simple choice to make. Either our residency laws mean something, and we need to find a better way to uphold them, or they do not, and we will not. The NVRA may be a very significant contributing factor to these issues, but it is also no excuse for committing these violations. It does not explicitly or implicitly permit any voter to provide false information about their residency. Finally, I am also not here today to present the committee with a major problem without also providing a bipartisan solution for it, and I will get to that after first walking you through these issues. So with all that in mind, let's dive in and take a look at what the data tells us. I've been running National Change of Address, or NCOA,
Guys, pay attention to this part. This is the cool part.
processing on Georgia voter data for about 30 years now. As those years went by, I noticed that the number of address changes continued to escalate. Even when purges happened, the number would temporarily dip, but then continue to rise again as the size of our voter rolls continued to increase. Here we see a good summary of our residency laws on the subject that once existed for many years on our Secretary of State's webpage. It is now gone, but that language still exists on a number of county web pages and still accurately reflects our residency laws. Attempts to uphold those laws are also one of the main reasons our counties have been inundated with voter challenges in recent years. But I think it is crucial that this committee understand that those are not being filed to try to disenfranchise voters. They are being filed to try to prevent unqualified voters from casting unlawful ballots in our elections.
Here you go.
Slide 4 explains the results of a residency analysis that I did in 2020. It shows that we had approximately 110,000 voters who filed permanent changes of address to a new jurisdiction here within Georgia more than 30 days before the general election, but did not re-register in those new jurisdictions before the deadline to vote in that election. Assuming those changes of address were indeed permanent, which is how they were all filed, that would have left those voters unqualified to cast a ballot in either jurisdiction.
Do you understand that, guys? What he's saying, and you can chime in, Mark. I don't want to speak for you, but guys, I talked about this before. Because Pennsylvania has the same law. What he's saying is, if you move from one county to another county and you don't tell the state, you don't re-register, you can't vote in either county. Explain why, Mark, why it's important. Or are you about to?
Well, most states have a grace period. Here in Georgia, ours is 30 days. So if you move within 30 days of an election, you can vote in the jurisdiction that you're registered in. And if you move before that 30-day grace period, then you have to re-register, just like the Secretary of State's website used to say. It used to tell voters, if you don't register in time in your new jurisdiction, you can't vote in that election. And the reason for that is they've lost their residency in their old county and they're unregistered in their new county.
Right.
And so they become unqualified voters. And we had about, according to the data, as many as 110,000 folks were in that situation. And about 35,000 of them actually went back to their old counties, claimed to still live there falsely or correctly, and then they cast a ballot there. So if you're like a soldier or a student and you're away for 4 years and you really have only moved temporarily, even though you're going to be gone for several years, you're okay. But that's the red herring that folks throw out. Most of these folks are not in that situation.
Right. And the thing is, it's important for that law because in different counties, you're voting for your sheriff.
Yeah.
You're voting for a school board. I mean,
that comes up next. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me play it then.
They had lost their residency in their old county and they were not registered in their new county. But according to the Secretary of State's vote history data, tens of thousands of those voters were permitted to cast ballots in their previous counties of residence. This analysis is not rocket science. It can and probably will be replicated by other analysts here in Georgia and in other states. As long as those analysts have access to the data needed to perform it, the process is basically the same. I repeated that exact same analysis again in 2022 and 2024, and here we see those top and bottom line numbers. At this point, I'd like to walk you through this evidence and why I consider it to be probable cause to investigate these issues and then to take steps to mitigate them. When voters move and they file a change of address with the post office, they also provide a move effective date. That is the date they want their mail to start being forwarded to them at their new addresses. But then after they move, many of them will realize that they never got around to re-registering to vote in their new counties and that the deadline to do that in time to vote in the upcoming election has passed them by. They will walk in, present a poll worker with a driver's license they know they have not updated, and when the poll worker checks it, they will find a match to a voter record that hasn't been updated either. Those poll workers don't have the first clue they're being deceived. So they ask those voters to sign voter certificates stipulating that they are who they say they are and that they live where they say they live. Those certificates carry a clear warning at the bottom of them about not providing false information, which is a felony under OCGA 21-2-562. Then once those unqualified voters ignore that warning and sign those certificates, they are permitted to cast a ballot. But after each election, thousands of those voters will finally get around to updating their driver's licenses and/or voter registrations with the exact same addresses that they told the post office they were moving to months or even years before the election. As far as I'm concerned, that kind of corroborating evidence provides clear probable cause for state officials to investigate those votes. But also, when there is a federal race on those ballots, slide 7 shows us why that conduct is also a felony under 52 U.S. 10307, which is the Prohibited Acts section of the Voting Rights Act. And while we're on that subject, I need to pause here and make the committee aware of a recent development that makes these issues even more.
You got it.
This is the part where I really screwed up. When I started talking about the DOJ, and we'll get to that call in a minute, but when I started talking about the DOJ, I told the committee that I had offered to turn over 97 records to them. I left out the word 1,000.
Yeah.
Major screw up. I went back and clarified it with the committee, but this was a major screw up.
Yeah. It's been killing him. Trust me. We talked a few times about it. It's been killing him. I'm like, hey, the only generation elected a president who was found guilty of felony. Yeah, okay.
I have a question for you, Mark.
There you go.
Mark,
Yeah.
got a question for you.
Okay.
You talked about a felony. Has anybody ever been charged with that felony?
They have, but it's very rare. What happens is the vast majority of these violations go completely undetected. When they are detected, they may or may not be brought to a county election board. The county election board may or may not refer it to the state election board.
Thank you,
The
Commander.
state election board may or may not refer it to the attorney general or to one of
It was
our
Nelson.
54 district attorneys who may or may not do anything about it. Of the cases that I know of that have been adjudicated, which is like a handful, most people get one of the dreaded sternly worded letters for their felony violations. And it's 3, okay? It's 21-2-562, relying on a voter certificate. It's 571, casting a ballot as an unqualified elector. And 52 U.S. 10307, which is a federal offense if there's a federal race on the ballot. So they're getting strongly worded letters for multiple felonies. And I'm not saying everybody ought to get locked up for this. What I am saying is we've got to fix this problem. It's being caused by the NVRA, but that's no excuse. These are still felony violations.
Explain the NVRA to people, like the main points of what it forces.
So during the Clinton administration, they passed the National Voter Registration Act, and it basically is what people now call the motor voter law. And it forces the states to register people to vote when they get a driver's license, or at least give them the option. And then it also has, in Section 8, it has restrictions on what the states can do once a voter goes on the rolls. It restricts what they can do about actually removing them from the rolls. And so when the secretaries of state, when they run in COA, they have to send out notices to the people who've moved and say, hey, can you please confirm that you've moved? Well, most people ignore those. And when they are ignored for, I think it's 30 or 40 days, something like that, then the Secretary of State can put them on inactive status. And they have to stay on inactive status for 2 more federal elections.
Imagine that, guys.
So it can take years to remove somebody from the voter rolls, even though they moved to Alaska,
Yeah,
a
right.
long time ago.
So let me interrupt because he probably doesn't want to say this aloud, but I will. So when you think about it, guys, the people that the NVRA, that the Democrats created, right? The people that have to remain on the voter rolls are people who died or moved out of the state, including others. In other words, people that wouldn't know they just voted. So, and I seem to remember, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, that in 2018, when Stacey Abrams was running for governor, and the Secretary of State at the time figured out that her group was fraudulently online signing people up to vote. Now, I there's no way I could prove it, but probably from those lists. Because think about this, guys. You get a list. You can purchase a list of the voter rolls, and then you can match them up, their addresses and names, to the USPS to see if they moved out of the state, or with the Social Security to see if they're dead. So you know how they always say that the Democrats have a really good demographic in the dead, right? Because it's true, right? And it's a joke, but it's really true. So you think about it. The reason why at that time the Secretary of State couldn't say anything is because it was Brian Kemp who was running against her, and he won, right? But it was Kemp who was running against her. He was the Secretary of State. You know what it would have looked like if he came out, because she's the whole voter suppression. She's the queen of screaming about racism and whatnot. So sorry, I had to get that part in.
Yeah, what these folks were doing was they were setting up tables. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of people who have made a lot of claims about what's going on with the voter rolls as with regard to people who have moved. But the other issue was she was setting up tables to register people to vote, and the people doing the registering were being paid to do it.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, they were being paid for how many people they signed up. So when people said, well, I don't know, I think I might already be signed up, they would say, well, no harm, no foul, just fill out an application here. And if you're not, then you'll be registered. Well, then what
Right.
happened is these applications go in and we wind up with all kind of duplicate voters on the rolls. And some of them voted duplicate times. So, that's an issue that's still going on. There's supposed to be an algorithm in the system to detect that, but it's either not working properly or it's being ignored, because the analysts here in Georgia find people that are registered multiple times all the time.
Well, they've been doing this for a very long time, guys, because I was volunteering for Frank Rizzo the last time he ran for mayor in Philadelphia. And I volunteered for him, and he got us into a room. It was a classroom, and he explained to us the spigot system. Oh, by the way, you know Leanne Naiman, right, Mark? She's here. She's here tonight.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's in here. What's called? Yeah, and so what he told us, because he was a Democrat his whole life, and then he was running as a Republican the last time, and he was the only Democrat I would have ever voted for. Okay, he was a good man, right? He cared about the city. And of course, even back then, he's a racist. You don't like him, you call him a racist, right? So he explained the spigot system where he goes, this is what I'm up against, and I know about it because I knew they used to do it. And he goes, and me as a police chief, he goes, I couldn't even do anything. He goes, as a mayor, I couldn't do anything. It was that powerful, right? And basically, long story short, what it was he said that you would see, and I would see it all the time at elections. He said around 10 o'clock, between 10 and 12 in the morning. He said you would see the school buses all pull in. They'd have a couple hundred people on each one. And they'd all get out, and there'd be one guy there with an index card, and he would hand them the index card, and that's who they were that day. And they would go in, and they'd vote for that person because they knew the guy was either dead or moved out. Then they'd all get on the bus, and the buses would drive to the next county, and they'd do it all over again with a new set of index cards. And they called it the spigot system. In fact, Project Veritas, which we're going to talk something about that later on, but Project Veritas during the 2016 election was in New York. If you remember this, Mark, they got an elections commissioner to admit the spigot system that they do there. And if you remember, the Project Veritas person said, yeah, but Hillary is expected 98% to win over Trump by the New York Times. You still going to do it now? And you remember his famous words? He goes, we've been doing it for 50 blanking years. What makes you think we're going to stop now? And just completely confessed to this spigot system that they're doing. So I think what you're talking about in Georgia lends right into that type of system, that they knew that they could vote in these people's names, which is why the NVRA that the Democrats came up with, right? That's why it says you can't remove certain people from the ballots because it helps them cheat.
Well, I asked Brock not long ago, what were the arguments for and against the NVRA when it passed and all of this kind of stuff? Because back in those days, it was a mixed blessing for me, because even though it did a lot of damage, it did mandate that the states centralize their voter rolls, which meant I could get a copy and I didn't have to go to 159 counties to get the data. But all the stuff that the Republicans said was going to happen as a result of the NVRA now actually have happened as a result of the NVRA.
Yep.
We've got bloated voter rolls, and there's at least anecdotal evidence all over the place that there's all kind of shenanigans going on because of that. The the violations that I'm talking about in this presentation here are probably the biggest one. Everything I'm saying in that presentation, there's no doubt in my mind that it's happening in other states that are subject to the NVRA as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What I want you to do when you're done with Georgia, maybe create reach out to other states and see if there are people. Every state probably has someone like you that does this.
I've done that through the Election Integrity Network.
Nice.
So
I knew you
hopefully
would.
now analysts all over the country will know how to do this. It's basically the same steps you would go through to create voter challenges, with just a couple additional steps and queries at the end.
Nice.
I'm gonna grab some tea while you cut it back on. I'll be right back.
Sure. We'll do a story. Yeah, because we got multiple other things to talk about. Let's see. Let's watch a video. Let me find one. Let's see. What do we got? Carrie Lake. This is great. All right, hang on. So this is Jen Psaki. Here you go. Ready? So here we go.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you okay?
JD Vance's wife.
Okay, please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there.
Big Red getting kind of nasty. They always say that about all the wives of these politicians. They just think that if you're a woman, you must agree with my idiotic political theories. Carrie Lake is a woman and doesn't agree with anything that these women say. And she joins us now. Good to have you on. What'd you make of that comment and just how nasty it was?
In other words, what Jen Psaki had said was that JD Vance's wife must be terrified because he's such an asshole, right? And so saying, blink 4 times if you want to be rescued, and we'll help you. I mean, it was a horrific thing to say about a vice president's wife.
No, I thought we left spouses out of it. Where this is and of all of the spouses, Usha is just so lovely. What a wonderful woman. She just wants to raise her kids and be supportive of her husband, which I think is a very noble thing. And I've met her on the campaign trail, and all I can say is she's just a really lovely human being. And I'm thinking about, in thinking about this segment tonight, and Jen Psaki, she's a mom with 2 kids. How would she feel if all of a sudden she was the focus of a target like this for no reason? I don't think she would like it. It's not good for the family. It's not good for the children. And I think it's really despicable. But it shows they're literally, Rob, they're running out of things to complain about and whine about.
Yeah.
And so now they're just looking for anything.
Yeah, and it also shows that they're very nervous about what J.D. Vance is going to bring when it's his turn to potentially run for president.
Exactly right. So they're going after JD now because they feel that they have the right to right all the wrongs that Donald Trump is doing right now. All right, we're back. Tell me something, Mark.
One sec. My battery's about to go on me. I got to make sure I'm charging here.
No worries.
Let me make sure that's working so I don't end up disconnecting from you.
We'll play the end of it. Let me see.
That's a good point. They
They
realize there's no bringing Trump down. He is loved by so many people. Now they're going, who's coming next and how can we stop them before they get going?
Right.
Yeah, you got this 6'2" guy from Ohio that's got this great story, was a poor kid and disadvantaged in every way, and he turns into what we have before us here. And he's very young, and he's got the look, and I think they're very scared about 2028, and I think they have a right to be because not a lot of good candidates on their side unless you think Gavin Newsom is really going to appeal.
They don't really have a bench, You good, Mark?
I think I'm charging now. I'm not positive. But anyway, we can go ahead. If I drop, that's what's going on. I'll just have to go reconnect somewhere else.
No worries. I heard you got a phone call from the DOJ. You want to talk about that?
Yes.
What do you hear,
Let me tell
guys?
you all about September the 10th. So I got a good night's sleep that night. I woke up feeling great. Just a wonderful day, beautiful September morning. I even listened to the song September Morning by Neil Diamond. It was that kind of a day. And I decided I wanted to get out and go for a walk and kind of drink it in. And I was getting ready to go, and this weird thought popped into my head. And I thought, the only way this day could possibly get any better is if I finally hear from the damn DOJ. So I go out on my walk. I get home. I sit down in my easy chair, put my phone on the arm, and you know what I'm fixing to tell you. It rang, and I looked down, and it was 202 area code, and I thought, no way. No freaking way. I answered the phone. It was the DOJ, and it was in response to a complaint I filed a while back, and I didn't expect them to do anything with. But they actually did. And the investigator that called me clearly had it in his hand because he was asking me questions about it. And I basically explained to him that, who I am, and that, in elections cases, it's literally my job as an expert witness or analyst to find the violations. And, I told him that I had this data from 2020 and that I had tried to open a case with the Georgia Secretary of State, and he suppressed it because it was inconvenient for him politically. And then I also told him that there were, half a dozen other analysts that had data that would love to turn over to the DOJ. And I just said, please come down here and just meet with us. Just have a conversation. I said, I know the state laws pretty well, but you guys know the federal laws well. And just come down here and hear us out. And I told him, the other thing I want you to know is that the DOJ came into possession of the data from 2020 during Fair Fight versus True the Vote, because the DOJ was a party to that case and I was a defendant. And so I had to turn over that data during that case. And right. I also told him the DOJ actually helped me in that case and that we later won the case, even though we had an Obama appointed judge. And so he said he was going to write it all up and put it up the chain of command. But things have gotten really interesting since then. And I'm not saying it was my complaint that did it, not at all. I can think of probably a dozen different ways, but I think at the end of the day, a lot of the information that we have been trying to get to President Trump out of the state of Georgia finally got to him. I don't know the exact channel, but I can think of quite a few that it could have been. And I don't think that point is all that important either. The fact of the matter is he's on it.
Trump's focused on it now.
He recently appointed Kurt Olson to investigate 2020. And let me tell you guys about him. I think we talked on a previous show about the lawsuit from DeKalb Republicans versus Raffensperger. That was the one where we had a couple of expert witnesses that delivered just stunning testimony about the security issues in that system. And don't let me forget, we need to come back and talk about the sale of Dominion in a minute.
Yeah, I got that on the list.
Oh, cool. All right. So anyway.
Hold on. Raffensperger, guys, was the Secretary of State during the steal in 2020. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So the security issues first came out in Curling versus Raffensperger, but DeKalb Republicans filed a case that was a little bit different and independent of Curling versus Raffensperger. And so we had two expert witnesses that walked into that courtroom and just delivered some stunning testimony, including disclosing the hard-coded master password in the Dominion voting system. And now you can buy that on T-shirts and baseball caps and flags and hoodies.
We have
and everything
the shirts.
else, all kind of swag available on Amazon or Walmart.com or eBay. I mean, you can find it all over the place. It's the "If You Know, You Know" T-shirt. I think Rich has one.
Yeah, I do. You do too.
Yeah, I have a couple. I didn't mean for that to happen. I just created that T-shirt so that I could get a picture of it as a meme, because the story I wrote on that, I ended up putting it out on X and it blew up. General Flynn and Laura, what's her name? The British one. What's her name? The reporter. Laura Logan.
Divine? Oh, Laura Logan.
Laura,
okay, yeah.
Laura Logan. And then a bunch of other people that have big audiences on X just blew it up, and it got like 1 million views. And when I posted the T-shirt, it was just for fun,
Yeah.
But people started saying, hey, I want one. So I went to the website, I designed the T-shirt in, and I gave the link out. Next thing you know, people all over the country are wearing those things, and you can buy them on Walmart now.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, but it was Kurt and Harry McDougal that were involved in that case. And it was a combination of it was a writ of mandamus, essentially. And the judge, instead of getting into the real issues in the case, he dismissed it on the writ of mandamus claim. So, and it was the same judge.
Explain a writ of mandamus.
Basically, do your job.
Right.
You know, Latin for do your job.
Right.
And so the judge in that case was Scott McAfee. And if you recognize the name, it's probably from the Fannie Willis and Nathan, whatever his name is, show. Nathan, y'all know who I'm talking about. Fannie's lover boy.
Yeah. Nathan Wade, or what was his name?
Yeah.
Nathan Wade. Yeah.
Same judge. Because what happens here in Georgia is,
I will.
a lot of these election cases, the really big ones, they will end up in Fulton County because that's where the capital is located.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, he ruled on the mandamus claim. It's been appealed. I don't know. I haven't heard lately what the status of the appeal is. But the point of the matter is, I got to know Kurt when he was working in that case, and he's sharp. I mean, I can't imagine a better election attorney that Trump could have tapped to investigate 2020, and that's what he's done. He's, and that report, I think, goes directly to President Trump when he's done.
Yep.
And Kurt is very aware of the issues with the Dominion voting system. He's aware of these residency problems. He's aware of all kinds of issues that have come out of the state of Georgia, but also other states. I mean, he's a nationally known guy. So I have so much faith in him. I think he's going to do a commendable job in that role. I can't imagine anybody better suited for it. So we will see what happens. But here lately, there's been a whole lot of things that you can't really directly connect the dots to, but the timing of it all makes you think. You know what I'm saying? So recently we heard that Dominion was sold to the owner of Nilink. And those systems kind of go hand in hand here in Georgia. But the gossip is that it was sold pretty cheap. And a lot of people are theorizing that Dominion may have sold some or all of its assets cheap in order to basically get it off their hands, because it may be about to become radioactive. I mean, once somebody starts proving issues like ballot data tampering, which I absolutely believe has happened here in Georgia.
Oh, absolutely.
Or these major security issues that have existed for years and years and years. I mean, once all of this stuff gets really nailed down in a courtroom and proven, then the company will become radioactive. And so the theory is that, maybe they sold it off so that they could distance themselves from it.
I think another reason would be, think about it, when they strong-armed Fox News and others to pay them to settle out of court on their $1.2 billion lawsuits, right? If they get nailed for like Smartmatic and or Dominion working together to cheat, think about that. The money they might have to pay back. Think about that.
Yeah, and I know it's happened in Colorado here too, guaranteed.
Yeah, I think every state that used Dominion. I mean, is it true, Mark? I don't know if this is a sidebar thing. Is it true that it was written for Hugo Chavez, the software, to be able to actually cheat in elections? It's how he won every time.
It's used in Canada, and I think it may be used in some other countries as well. But there's some things to understand about that system. It's designed for auditability. Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of the features can be thwarted, like the auditability. Here in Georgia, we've got people all signing in under the same logins. Rich, you would never allow that. I mean,
and they didn't even do MD5 encryption. That's like the lowest level of encryption you can do. It was like, from what I understand, when you looked at the password, you're supposed to see asterisks going across. They didn't even have that.
Well, here's
Like
what happened here. In Curling versus Raffensperger, there was a court order issued to give up the data from the 2020 recount. The data from the 2020 election supposedly had already been overwritten so that the memory cards or the USB sticks could be used to store the ballot images and cast vote records and all that stuff for the recount. So when that order happened, there were about 60 counties that complied, and the rest of them said they didn't have it anymore. Well, election records are supposed to be maintained or retained rather for either 22 months or 24. One's the federal statute, one's the state. And I always forget which is which, but you can't just delete that stuff. I don't.
Right.
But anyway, so out of the 60s that complied, there were 5 or 6, I think it was, that overshared. And when I say overshared, what I'm saying is they didn't just back up the ballot images and the cast vote records and the slog files and all that. They backed up everything, including the SQLite databases that are at the heart of one of those BMDs. And so analysts got in there and they were easily able to access the guts of that software. And my battery's saying it's going to die here shortly. Let me try to get it plugged back in. All right, so when they did that, they got in and they figured out how easy it is to get into the system, and then they found the superadmin password, which is hard-coded. In other words, you can't change it without doing a full system upgrade.
Right.
And so that password was the one that blew up, the one that you can find on T-shirts. It was the same password that was found in Arizona and Michigan and all kind of other places. And CNN, back during Curling versus Raffensperger, did a story that there was an upgrade available, but we hadn't implemented it, and we wouldn't be implementing it until after 2024. Well, 2024 is come and gone. Still no money appropriated by the legislature to do that. And our legislature has basically chosen to no longer allow the QR codes that are put on those ballots, because that's what's processed, not your real votes. It's what's contained in that QR code, which supposedly represents your real votes, and usually it does. But the point is that we are probably going to have to move to Hemart paper ballots next cycle, and that's what one of the things we're working.
Trump's been saying that since 2016. Paper ballots.
Yeah,
it's the best way.
Mark,
but anyway, understand this.
Hold on, Mark. What do you got, Jade? You got a question?
Before you run out of power, what do you know about the purchase of Dominion voting services?
About what?
What do you know about the purchase of Dominion?
The guy that owns No Inc., we're told, bought Dominion. And the word is that he got it pretty cheap. So now it's going to be rebranded as Liberty Vote.
Liberty Vote.
I always thought Dominion was a really creepy name for a voting equipment company anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the guy who bought it is apparently pushing paper ballots.
Well, I'm not sure he cares all that much. I think he's resigned himself. But, keep in mind, they still make the tabulators. So those paper ballots come off the BMD through a printer. You take your ballot, you walk over to the tabulator, and you put it in.
And then it's digital and they can do whatever they want. But go ahead.
Well, the tabulators can be audited pretty well. They produce ballot images. They produce cast vote records. They produce slog files. So as long as that data is transparent, I'm okay with the tabulators. It's the BMDs everybody worries about, the ballot marking devices. Rich, I may run out of power, so we should probably try to hit those other topics kind of quick.
Sure, let's do it. The next one would be your Project Veritas story.
Oh, God. Okay.
Wait to hear this, guys.
All right. Y'all need to pay attention to this series that Project Veritas has been doing. Installment number 2 talks about this whistleblower interfacing with the DOJ and Fannie Willis and all this stuff being coordinated and all this kind of stuff. Understand that whistleblower is probably a criminal. We don't know this yet. I mean, she's innocent until proven guilty, but she's a fugitive. So there's a lot of reasons to be concerned about the whistleblower, but there's documents here. There's her meeting notes, and there's also lots of text messages involved. And a friend of mine asked me to ask them if I was in those text messages, and I was. It's their story, so I'm not going to get into too much of it, but I do want to encourage all of you to be paying attention to that. I checked in with them not long ago, and they've been working on a new set of stories on what they've found. Because when they found me in there, I asked them to start checking for the Fulton 19 and all these other folks. And, they've been kind of tight-lipped about what they found, but they told me they found a lot.
Can you get into like without, see, guys, they haven't broken the story yet, and Mark doesn't want to steal their thunder, which is commendable. But is there any like top level stuff you can say what it's about without giving us, so that we will want to see it when it comes out?
My understanding is that there's even more evidence of coordination between all these various prosecutors in various states and the DOJ and all of this stuff in terms of going after Trump. And I think what they're about to do is probably add a lot of corroborating evidence for that theory.
Wow.
So there's that. That's probably all I should say about that, other than you guys really pay attention to it, because I understand that's probably going to come out any time now.
Wow. All right. Where do you think they're going to post first? X?
Probably X.
Yeah, that's where they'll push it first. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be looking for that one.
What else we got on the list? Anything?
I think we went through it. Well, you had the Smartmatic, Dominion, Project Veritas, Kurt Olson. Any news about Fannie Willis? Like what's going on with her now?
She is about to testify under oath before the Georgia Senate, last I heard. She finally agreed to do that. This was basically after Judge McAfee issued an order that said the Prosecutors Council of Georgia has 14 days to find a new prosecutor for that case or it dies.
Wow.
And I'm not sure. That 14 days may have come and gone now. I'm going to have to check on that. I'm surprised it wasn't big news. But, I mean, that case is all but dead. It may already be dead. If not, it's on life support.
Yeah.
So it's all but dead. But I think the news that those 14 days for them to find a new prosecutor, or else she, it just goes away.
Did anything happen to her? Like, all right, guys, down in Georgia, they have what is it? I guess it's a panel that when they have a big case, they have to decide which prosecutor gets that case. And
what happens is when they remove a prosecutor from a case,
right,
but they don't want to end the case, then it goes to the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, the PAC.
Right.
And they're tasked with finding a new prosecutor. But obviously this case.
But what did say what Fannie did though that violated all that?
Well, she had an affair with one of her attorneys that she hired to go on the case, and
right. But she just grabbed the case. She just grabbed the case and said, "Well, I'm going to take this case," like bypassing this panel, and said, "I'm going to take the case." And she went on and said, "Because all the other prosecutors are on Trump's payroll," or something like that.
What she bypassed, arguably, was the state election board, because normally elections cases go to the state election board, and one of the attorneys in the Fulton 19 case raised the issue with the judge and with the Court of Appeals, and the ruling that he made that was left standing was that a district attorney has shared jurisdiction with the state election board. So the issue now is, or was, whether or not the Prosecuting Attorneys Council would appoint a new prosecutor. And it was a lawfare case to begin with. Most of the
Right.
prosecutors in Georgia wouldn't touch it.
Right.
And I don't know that they ever found one. I think the 2 weeks may be passed. Now that we're talking about it, I need to go back and check on that. If it hasn't passed, it's darn close.
Well, they
Anyway,
may have.
for
They
whatever
may have.
reason, she elected to go ahead and agree to testify under oath to this Senate committee. So that's going to be real interesting to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be. Oh man, think about this. Oh, and so you have Fani Willis, who's probably. I see her like getting in some trouble for pushing a lawfare case that way, and then you have what's his name, Smith, who went after Trump, Jack Smith, who went after Trump that way. He's in trouble now, and I can't wait until you see either Judge Merchan or Alvin Bragg in New York, because you got Letitia James. She's in trouble now, because she committed crimes. She committed multiple mortgage crimes. I mean, unbelievable. All these prosecutors that threw lawfare at Trump are now in trouble, and they're saying, it's revenge. It's not revenge. It's unlike Trump. They actually committed the crimes. Also, pencil neck Adam Schiff, he's in trouble now for mortgage fraud. It's just a beautiful thing to watch, man. It's crazy. Did we lose you, Mark? Yeah, I think we lost it. His battery died.
Yeah, he's frozen up now.
Yeah, his battery died. All right, I'll remove from the stage. I'll just text him. Yeah.
Text him a thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a shame it died. He used to have a really bad. I think he did it through his phone because he had a really bad. Where he's at in Georgia, he has a really bad internet connection. So I don't know, but that was Mark, guys. So I thought that was pretty good. He gave us a lot of good info again, because there's so much going on. Oh, hold on a sec. Hang on. Commander, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, brother. All
Well,
right.
it looks like Nelson is in here again.
Oh, is he? What's he saying this time?
Fannie Wilson took Mark down.
Fannie Wilson took
Fannie
who?
Willis.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's
What name is he going by this time?
Frobet. FROBB.
Oh no, that's Bobbity.
That is?
That's Bobbity. Yeah, sometimes he comes in under the other one.
Okay.
Fannie Willis took Mark down. Yeah, you know what he means by that? Fannie Willis cut his internet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Bobbity.
Sorry, Bobbity.
Yeah, the
I
Frobit.
misinterpreted. I misinterpreted. That was all over me. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, he is. He is, man. He's a good guy. A lot. Yeah, he knows like all the inside people that are in on this lawfare crap, trying to bring it to justice. He knows pretty much all of them. I saw a picture on his Facebook where they were sitting at this really a high-end hotel, and they were having, I guess, lunch, and everybody around the table was the really high up election integrity people, and he was one of them. So I'm glad to see that, because you know what, guys, Mark has been working for the better part of 30 years trying to get residency issue problems straightened out in Georgia, because the cheating was just rampant for years. And they were all the years where they said to us, there's really no voter fraud. And if there is, I mean, it's probably a good thing. You know how Democrats always hit that.
It's impossible to cheat in Georgia.
Oh yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, guys, if you can hit that like button, please. It helps us. Let me see how many we got. We got 18. Nice.
Looks like we got 24
19.
watching, 20 likes.
All right.
We got 4
I'm going to
slash.
start tiptoeing around Dr. J. Nah, it's all right. She didn't know it was you, bro.
No, I'm sorry. No, my apologies. My misinterpretation completely.
Yeah, let's see. Let me hit Mark up.
And Sheila, the good news is you didn't miss a moment. The bad news is I really don't have anything this week. I've been sick like a dog since last I was on. So I don't have anything this week. But the other good news is I've already thought of something for next week.
Yeah. What do you, oh, really? For next week?
Yeah.
All right. I just texted him. Let's see. All right, let's get back to doing what we do. Bobbity, you naughty boy. All right, let's see. What are we going to do next? We'll do pencil neck. How's that? We'll do le pencil neck.
Another one I want to see in an orange jumpsuit.
Oh, I know. Here we go, guys. So to preface this, MSNBC came out and said that they're hearing from insiders, anonymous, which means they don't exist. That they're saying, the U.S. attorneys are saying that there's just not enough evidence to get Adam Schiff on mortgage fraud, it's a load of Schiff, because they have his signatures just the same way they have for Letitia James. So DOJ denies MSNBC claims about Schiff mortgage fraud case not being strong enough. So the Justice Department's second in command unequivocally shot down a report by an MSNBC reporter who had claimed that the top federal prosecutor in Maryland had told DOJ leadership that a case against Adam Schiff was not strong enough to lead to charges. Nonsense. Senator Schiff from Cali is currently being investigated in Maryland over allegations of possible mortgage fraud. Ken Delaney, the Justice and Intelligence correspondent for MS Now, tweeted on Thursday that Kelly Hayes, the U.S. Attorney in Maryland, met in recent days with Todd Blanche, remember the name, the Deputy Attorney General, to update him on the Schiff case, and that Hayes told Blanche she did not think the case against Schiff was wrong. Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General under Pambani, shot the story down. Get this. Breaking. Delaney, whatever, MSB, reports on a recent meeting that never happened, he wrote. Can you ask your two sources for more info? I'm genuinely curious. Excited to hear more about this made-up meeting. Also, unequivocally, U.S. Attorney Hayes has told me no such thing. So MSNBC lied once again. I mean, think about it. This is what they're doing now. They're just blatantly coming out and lying to protect themselves because they think that if the word goes out enough and enough libnuts out there on social media believe this, that there's going to be a momentum to get Adam Schifferbrains out of trouble. But they don't understand who's in charge now. These people, the people that are working for Trump now, the cabinet positions and whatnot, they are America First conservatives. They're not going to back down from this. If a Democrat, if a person with a D next to their name broke the law, they're going after him, just like they would against a Republican that broke the law.
Yeah, but they're timing it because if they
you're right.
time things to have the proof
I think
come
you're
out,
right.
to have the proof come out and to have okay, this is a little bit of gaming, but you know the Dems have done this for 60 years. If they also time it to critically interfere with election preparation.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are starting to run for office, and now we take them down. That's going to completely disrupt their planning.
Yep.
So I think what they're doing is they're both building a very strong case and just timing it.
Yeah, we did see that. Hold on. Let me get back to this one with Obama. So there's someone call 911. Trump just dropped Obama with a 1-2 right hook.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
So the Obama Presidential Library was supposed to be a gleaming monument to hope and change. Instead, it's a $700 million weird-looking concrete eyesore that resembles some Soviet grain silo that runs on DEI fumes. The project has been plagued with lawsuits, delays, design failures, and skyrocketing costs. And now even Trump couldn't resist calling it exactly what it was, a monument to incompetence. When a reporter asked Trump about the disastrous Obama library, he didn't hold back. Obama and DEI both got a knockout punch. So it says from Eric Doherty, they're building the Obama Presidential Library. Trump, he needs help. Reporter, you've seen pictures of it? Trump, yeah, I did. Not too pretty. He's stuck. He wanted only women and DEI to build it. That's what he got. They're hundreds of millions over budget. And that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. That is like Wow, here we go. Let's hear
They're
him.
building their ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've
He
seen.
needs help.
Have you seen pictures of the
You gotta love him.
architecture and what
Yeah, I
do you think
did.
of it?
It's not too.
Look at that thing. Look at it. How freaking ugly is that?
It's closed, it's stopped. They ran out of money. Means building a library slash museum, you know, you call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well,
Yeah, he did.
that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You know, I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we use the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people.
In other words, what he's saying is that Obama made it so that, like, when he said the people that he wanted to rent, there weren't enough of them in construction where he's doing it. So they had to pull people from around the country to come in and do it.
You know, it looks like some sort of Soviet era.
Yeah, it does. LeBlanc. Yeah,
Soviet era. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Subsidized housing. I don't
It's
know.
unbelievable. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it's not even. I mean, look at the structure of it alone. What the hell?
That's
What do you
bad.
think about it? $700 million for that, man.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's
And I
bad.
suggested you
That's
get
bad.
them involved, but they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget, and I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories, but that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too.
You gotta love it, man. When he gets those digs in, because Obama was we all know it. He was behind the lawfare. He was behind it all.
I mean, he was in charge. You don't think
Yeah.
he's behind it?
Yeah. Well, he was behind it because they now proved it because Tulsi Gabbard released all the documents that showed that he intentionally his own people sent him an analysis from Intel saying there's no way the Russians could have done this. They don't have the capacity to rig an election. And he said, fuck that. And he told Clapper and he told Brennan and probably others that you're going to write an assessment that says the exact opposite. And that's what got the ball rolling. Yeah, that's what got the ball rolling on that. But anyway, let's go next. Caroline Levitt, love this. I love listening to her because she's got such a future ahead of her. She's really good. But before it's going to be, hold on, maybe. Yeah, they're going to have commercials. Sorry.
Morning.
It's a memory trick.
Morning.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Milks to avoid.
Milk doesn't make you fat? That's an easy.
So
Here we
the
go.
White House has explained that the reason you didn't submit construction plans to the NCPC is because that commission, along with others, don't have oversight over demolitions, but only
It's
over
about the ballroom.
construction. And so far, you haven't built anything. So can you help us understand, can the president tear down anything he wants without oversight? Can he demolish this building or say the Jefferson Memorial?
So it's not the president
She's
who
such an ass.
came up with that legal opinion himself. That's a legal opinion that's been held by the NCPC for many years. It's written, so we can get you that background and that research if you wish to include it in your reporting because it is very important. They have ruled consistently. Their general counsel has said when it comes to phase one of this project, the tearing down of the current East Wing structure, a submission is not required legally for that. Only for vertical construction will a submission be required, and that's a legal opinion from them, and we are following that legal opinion. And again, I would just add, can any president do such a thing to the White House grounds? There have been many presidents in the past who have made their mark on this beautiful White House complex. This briefing room, as you all know, was not once a briefing room. It was a swimming pool. There have been presidents who have completely torn down the executive mansion. If you look at what President Truman did, some of the photos of the construction project that took place in those years, I think sitting here today, we're all grateful for those efforts and the modifications that happened at that time. And again, in due time, the East Wing is going to be more beautiful and modern than ever ever before. And in addition, there will be a big, beautiful ballroom that can hold big parties and state visits for generations to come.
So it sounds like the answer is yes, he can tear down whatever he wants. And then secondly,
That's not
that's not what we're saying. That's a legal opinion that's been held for many years. And
interpreting it.
no, it's something that presidents have done.
Do you believe this shit? That's how you're interpreting it. I mean,
For years and years. In fact, I have some photos here. Thank you, Matt, to show you the construction that's taken place on the White House grounds. This is the construction of the West Wing in 1902. Look at this, the construction of the West Terrace in 1902. These images look quite similar to what you and the American people are seeing today, the construction of the East Terrace as well. You look at the construction of the West Wing expansion in 1934. So look, this is a legal opinion that's been held for many years. Look at, this is 1950. It looks a lot like what you were seeing today.
Can he demolish anything he wants?
What do you think
without
that
oversight?
rubble is? How did that rubble get there?
this bitch wants the story to be, well, you know, Trump thinks that he can just do any damn thing he wants and he can destroy anything. That's what she's going for. She keeps pushing it. And Caroline keeps trying to tell her, look, there's a legal opinion that a president is allowed to make changes to the White House. Sorry.
Right, so I'm asking, and then back to the donors.
Go ahead, Reagan.
Many of them are.
You just said, you know, I'm done with you. And Caroline should never call on her again.
Yeah, I like her.
For being such a, I do too. Yeah. I like her a lot. Yeah. Do they still teach reporters how to do? They don't. They really don't. Yeah, she is. Yeah, I really like her a lot. She handles the job really well. Architecture by hand. Yeah, that's what they think. They think that Trump came in with a sledgehammer and started smashing walls down. Yeah, if you guys saw my video on this, it's actually like I have a picture of where the West Wing is and the East Wing. They're like so far, and their whole thing was because they had to put a backup whiny cryy thing, right? In case people go, well, you know, other presidents have that. Yeah, well, he said that he wasn't going to just touch the building. Everybody knew he meant the West Wing because that's where all the work of the president goes on, right? Everybody knew it, right? And again, so they want the United States president to continue to host visitors, ambassadors, diplomats, presidents, kings on the lawn with tents. Can you imagine? So he wants a ballroom. And from what I understand, the ballroom is going to be very commensurate with the elegance of what a lot of the White House is right now. So he's not like putting some discotheque in there, right? It's going to be a very classy thing.
I said this.
And you want to know something? I don't think that Trump will be able to use this ballroom. I don't think it'll be done in time. I don't think he'll be able to use it. So he's doing it for future presidents. If you ever notice anything about Trump, get the lib nuts out of this conversation because they don't understand anything about Trump. That's why they're losing so bad. But Donald Trump, whenever he talks about things like this, he doesn't talk about himself as being president. He says the presidency. Like, for example, when he said about all the lawfare, he said this should never happen to another president again because he always tries to protect the office of the president. And that's why he's won. I think we're up to 23-0 now with the Supreme Court. And it was never really about him, even though many of these decisions did help him, but they didn't really help him because they were all Article 2 authorized powers he already had that liberal judges took away from him, right? And it wasn't just him. These go back years that really bad Supreme Courts like usurped powers out of Article 2. And he's just bringing it back. And he's saying, look, it's right there in the Constitution. We have this authority. And they're telling me I don't. And the authority that they took away are the things that the globalists, the leftists, didn't want our president to be able to do because it would knock back their globalist efforts. So Trump is not, the piece of crap that the left is always telling him. He wanted this because, and he said that they went through the notes of past administrations, and for 150 years, presidents have wanted a ballroom in that area. So,
and the lib nuts are out there saying he can't do that. It's not his house.
It's not his house
himself.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he's not building it for himself.
You know what I say to
Precisely.
jackasses that go, it's all of our house. It's our house. You know what I say to that? Okay, so anything that you own, you're able to sell. So what part of that building can you sell, jackass? Don't tell us it's your house. Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's go back. Here we go. Merrick Garland. That piece of shit.
There's another one that should go down.
Yeah. Biden AG Merrick Garland and FBI Director Chris Wray personally approved the opening of Arctic frost investigation into Trump. And a lot of people think this is not a big case, but Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, love this guy. He's such a war hawk on government corruption. He always has been. On Thursday, released documents revealing that Biden's Attorney General Merrick Garland and former FBI Director Chris Wray and corrupt DOJ official Lisa Monaco personally approved opening the Arctic frost investigation into President Trump. Arctic frost led to Jack Smith's Trump 2020 alternate electors case, which has happened, I think, 3 times in history already. But they said no one's ever done this before. Republican Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, who I like Ron Johnson a lot too, earlier this year released new records detailing the FBI and DOJ sweeping investigation that formed the basis of Jack Smith's D.C. case. It was a lawfare case against President Trump. Grassley and Johnson previously blew the lid off another sham investigation orchestrated by Biden's corrupt Department of Justice and compromised FBI. According to the documents released earlier this year, the FBI and DOJ weaponized their power to target President Trump, former Vice President Mike Pence, and their allies through a probe dubbed Arctic Frost. Quote, Operation Arctic Frost, quote, was a taxpayer-funded witch hunt launched in April 2022 that seized government-issued cell phones belonging to Trump and Pence while conducting a barrage of interviews across the country. It was recently reported that Joe Biden's FBI and later Jack Smith spied on 8 Republican senators during the Arctic frost investigation into January 6th. Jack Smith tracked private phone calls of 8 GOP senators. Here's the list. Look at this. Mike Kelly, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan. We know these. Ron Johnson. That's why Ron's into it. Cynthia Loomis and Marsha Blackburn. Unreal. Opening of this full investigation is governed by the DOJ memo. The DOJ memo requires written notification to and consultation with the Assistant Attorney General and U.S. Attorney with jurisdiction over the matter, and written approval of the Attorney General through the Deputy Attorney General prior to opening of any investigation of a declared candidate for president or vice president, a presidential campaign, or a senior presidential campaign staff member or advisor, the document read. It is assessed that the pool of potential subjects may include individuals who fall into one or more of these categories. Although members of the 45th presidential administration are no longer in office, the DOJ memo states that the scope of this policy should be broadly construed to ensure that department leadership is made aware of the opening of matters that could potentially be disruptive to the Democratic party, yada, yada, yada. We know what it means. They spied on him. They tried to take him down. You know, you think about it. From the day he came down the escalator, every single thing they did to Trump was to stop him from winning the election. And then after he won each election, they've done everything they can to get him out of office. The beauty is this time, because of how he won. I mean, you think about it. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college. He won everything.
Too big to rig.
Yeah. So he won everything. So he has a momentum now. And you know what? A lot of a majority of the people that voted for him still would vote for him again because they love what he's doing. You know, and so the Dems are just this pathetic organization anymore that's trying to throw anything at the wall and see if it sticks.
Rich, that's not true. Listen to Hakeem Jeffries. He told us that MAGA voters have buyer's remorse now.
Yeah, we have buyer's remorse. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So
up your ass, boy.
Yeah. Kash Patel said, today we handed over important documentation showing weaponization and politicization at the highest levels of government. We're proud to work with Chairman Grassley and Senator Johnson on this critical oversight and restore one tier of justice and the transparency of the American. Let's get to it. Sorry. to transparency the American people deserve. Arctic frost was a stain on this country. That weaponization ends under this FBI. So let's see what it was. So this was unclassified. Attorney General obtaining a signature AG decision requested by your approval. All right, cool. So they signed it off. So, all right. So they got nailed. Nothing will happen. It's a shame. Nothing will happen. But let's go down. Yeah, this one. This one will piss you off. So here we go. Dem officials are incentivizing anti-ICE violence. This is what an insurrection looks like. All right. So at a meeting, let me bring it up a bit. At a meeting with Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, who is, I would say, borderline retarded. I'm serious. Representative Robert Garcia announced that the House Democrats on the Oversight Committee would be launching a master ICE tracker. Can you believe this? This follows the previous removal of ICE trackers by Apple and Facebook after the apps and sites tracking activity of immigration law enforcement personnel led to multiple violent confrontations with illegal alien activists, ugly acts of violence, and at least one death so far. So in other words, they got these trackers that they can mark off, oh, there's an ICE agent here, or this is where he lives. Just go do your thing, right? This is what these people are doing. And can you imagine if the Republicans, if MAGA did something like that? Can you imagine? So what's the difference? What's the difference between their perceived bullshit about January 6th and what they're literally actually doing to try to bring violence to federal agents? I mean, think about it. And they all support it.
You saw how they reacted when Pelosi got attacked.
Right. They blame MAGA right away. These confrontations are not just the work of random extremists, but of a leftist activist activist base supported by top Democrats in the media, which have promoted ICE trackers, distributed the contact information for groups interfering with ICE arrests, and subsidized the perpetrators. Before Carlitos Ricardos Parias, an illegal alien TikTok influencer, was arrested in an alleged car ramming assault on federal agents in Los Angeles, he had received, get this, Los Angeles, a certificate of appreciation, right, from council member Curran D. Price Jr. for his tireless efforts to safeguard the neighborhoods from illegal raids. So let's break this shit down, okay? This guy was going around on TikTok telling people when he saw ICE, that's all he did was drove around and looked for ICE, where he saw ICE agents, like they don't get out of the van and immediately run into a facility, right, to a house or something, right? So when they start getting out and they're staging, he would see them and he'd tell everybody where they are. The city of Los Angeles gave this guy a certificate of appreciation for doing that. And they say, it's in the archives now, tireless efforts to safeguard our neighborhoods from illegal raids. They're saying that ICE doing their job is an illegal raid. How do they get away with that? It's an illegal raid? Really? I mean, come on. Such horseshit. Such close cooperation between illegal alien rioters and local Democrat officials first attracted national attention during what some have called Newsom's riots, when leftist groups funded by the governor and other top Dems set off violent confrontations in Los Angeles. While the riots died down once the National Guard took decisive action, the violence has continued on a smaller scale as the Parias, I guess that's his name, arrest shows the local confrontations by activists backed by California Democrats. I mean, wow. Democrats are actually telling their people to go and to actually acknowledge when someone with these apps is saying, go over there and attack these ICE agents. Don't let them do their job. And so ICE agents doing their job is illegal, but telling constituents to commit violence against them is not. These people have lost their ever-loving minds. I mean, they've really lost their minds. Al Gore has some splaining to do about these series of two.
Yeah, you know, the way I'm ended up thinking about it recently is that what we're looking at is a bunch of people who want to initiate a color revolution, a communist revolution.
Right.
And one of two things happens. They're either successful or not. If they're successful, suddenly it's like Cuba. But,
right.
You know,
right.
Hey, go for it. You want to do it? That's what you think is right. Rise up, start your communist revolution. If that's what you think is right, if you think that is the real moral thing to do.
Yeah, can you 42, can you imagine if Al Gore won that election?
Oh God.
And then 9/11 happened? I mean, think about it. I do not think we should use nuclear weapons. Think of what that would do to the environment. And I think we should use wet paper balls and lob them through spitball at the terrorists. And I've proposed tax incentives for people who manufacture the wet paper balls. I mean, that's what we would get out of Al Gore. Let me see. My brother just sent me something. Let me see what he sent. Oh, wow. Yeah, send it to me, Jimmy, if you got it. I'll play it. Yeah. Let's see. So we got this next one.
You got a Kurt Schlichter thing. You always
that's what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. There you go. Forget the nonsense. This is important, guys, to remember this. Forget the nonsense. Republicans are not facing electoral death in 2026. Kurt Schlichter. Don't fear the electoral reaper in the 2026 midterms. The GOP just needs to be prepared to give it more cowbell. I love this guy. Look, we've been told again and again and again that we will certainly lose the House, but those are the same experts who told us we couldn't close the border without throwing it wide open, that peace in the Middle East was impossible without surrendering to 7th century savages, and that some women have a penis. What they don't know would fill volumes. Stop listening to them. We're looking good in 2026. We just need more cowbell. For the folks in the slow seats, cowbell means hard work. The bad guys are on the back foot, and they are as energized as 80-year-old boomers can be. So we need to outwork them. In the House, we're not looking perfect, but we are looking strong. The moving parts are moving in our direction. It can certainly go bad. The historical trends are doubtless against us, though in 2002, George W. Bush managed to add seats in a first-term midterm. I think it was because of 9/11. Of course, this isn't a first term for Donald Trump. Depending on who you ask, it's the second or third. But he's broken all the rules. But he's broke. Jimmy, do you have? Hold on. If he sends me the link, no, I don't have the link. Hold on, let me see. Cash Jordan. He's telling me Cash Jordan's latest video is in Portland showing they breached the detention center. He's saying it's unbelievable. Let me try to find it on Portland, because that would be interesting to watch. Let me see. Cash Jordan. I think this is it. 52. Oh, it was a day ago? Oh, 5 hours ago. Storms the ice building. Okay. All right. Yeah, this guy's pretty good. Let me switch over to this. Okay, here we go.
Total war now takes place on the streets of Portland at the deportation jail. Look at this. This is such a disaster.
It's take two.
And watch here what Antifa does.
Up, take
Look how
two.
they hold their umbrellas.
Good to see you,
They
man.
use those as shields to block the pepper ball munitions that are used for crowd control so that they can stand in front of the building longer. But it gets worse because they think they're winning. Watch this.
Just look at the amount of tear gas being
It's
used.
suppressed.
It's a lot of gas.
Enormous.
Look at that.
You know, the pepper ball still being fired.
It's not working.
And look at the crowd. Many of them don't even have gas masks, and they're still in front of the ice.
They're just in the smoke.
An enormous amount of tear gas. We started to notice.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that pop.
That was a
We started
big
to
bang.
notice the agents.
They're not backing up.
put it on their gas mask. That's what we know it's going to be deployed. Look at the crowd control munitions.
This is
The
crazy.
crowd is only getting more aggressive here.
Jorge, are
They're
those
just getting more
flashbang
aggressive.
grenades being deployed by the federal
Oh, look, they
agents
threw
that
some
we
on the
hear, or are
roof.
those fireworks being thrown from the protesters?
This is just a back and forth.
This is
We
not a
have
peaceful
seen
protest.
these type of
There's no way it's a
since
peaceful
we've been on the ground.
Peaceful protesters don't need any of this.
I apologize
Look at the
if it's hard to hear, but
strobe
we
to
need have
confuse
the
them.
gas mask on.
They're
They're
shooting
already
paintballs
confused,
that are loaded with
but-
tear gas.
Some of the individuals
I
are
think we
driving
need to
the
do more
buses
than
and
this.
sending them right back at the federal agents.
Look, they're not leaving.
No, we can hear you just fine, Jorge. We're
They got
seeing
gas
the
masks.
strobe lights. Can you explain where those strobe lights are coming from? Is
That's
that the
ICE.
agents trying to, again, use tactics to clear them out?
Oh, this
Remember,
is
George Soros and those guys are funding all this.
Just a bit here.
Yeah, maintain your
If you
distance.
can follow me here.
these reporters can't even be there.
This G right here. No, this guy's trying to kick the tear gas.
Is he gonna throw it back? No, he's running.
I have, Alex, so far we have not
Oh.
seen this amount of crowd control munitions used on the protesters. There's this woman right here, she doesn't even have a gas mask. She's yelling at the agents. This guy just kicked the tear gas.
This is
Look at
crazy.
the tear gas canister right here.
The whole street is smoke. Look at this. They're
Have
all
you
still
seen
there.
Portland PD step in, or
None of that
maybe
worked.
I don't know, state police able to come in and try to get a hold of this to help out the federal agents?
Yeah, where are the Portland police? Good question.
What's
Yeah.
interesting, Alex, is earlier today we did see state police and we saw Portland PD attempting to clear out the crowd. Let me put my gas mask on.
Guys, compare this to J6. These are all Democrat soldiers. These Antifa and all these anti-ICE people. I mean, think about it. They're throwing M80s at the cops. Think about the differences. And yet you don't hear a peep. In fact, the people in California support these assholes on the street. Remember, because ICE is doing illegal raids.
Yeah, keep your mask on.
It's unreal.
This is crazy.
Trump needs to bring in the National Guard. Stop this shit.
Yeah, there aren't any police. Things here, it's a war zone. The police want nothing to do with this. And look at this. Even during times of peace, there's fights between protesters. Look at this. Look at this. Here are the bike cops. This guy's arm got scratched.
Yeah, someone like pulled out. I don't know if it was like a shank or something.
He got shanked. He's not bleeding. It's a scratch.
I asked kindly 3-4 times to come to move out of the way. Look at this.
He tried to walk by their homeless encampment, which is well stocked. Look at all the stuff Antifa has.
Look at this shit.
Look at all the stuff they got here.
Oh my God. Look at that.
Look, they got so many supplies to fight the federal government.
And we now know, we did a story a couple weeks ago that Soros funded all this.
I mean, there's
This
a
is
lot
so
of it.
wild.
It's awfully organized. It's pretty nice.
Medical stuff. I wonder who funded this. Look at all the water. This is ridiculous. They've got crutches and stuff. Why do they need that? So that they can, like...
What do you mean so much? Dude, trashy. Come on, man. Why are you acting so trashy?
Oh, look at this guy. We got Skeleton Man.
Did you know that's weird, right? Like not, you don't think
He's in
any
a
of
public
this is
place.
weird? You don't think this is weird? You don't think this
No.
is weird? You don't think this is weird? You don't think any
You don't
of
think
this
this is weird?
Right.
I love that.
Do you know what time it is?
It's like 2 in the morning.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday. This is Tuesday night. Look, there's some more Portland police.
I'm doing this for money? If only you knew how much it cost me to be here. If only you knew how
These
much
protesters are here for money. They're not here for free.
it costs tens of thousands of dollars.
They do get paid.
Everything these radicals accuse their enemies of, they're out there doing. They're such hypocrites.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Look at all the stuff.
And I will be here for quite a long time, don't you worry.
Yeah, so will the protesters. This has been 4 months and counting now. Look at all their propaganda.
Because you don't have to.
They're just upset that they're getting exposed. They're upset that they're being filmed. They're upset that their homeless encampment is now going to make Fox News, who's the only network that's going to cover this. Oh, this was earlier in the day. Yeah, that's right. Portland police, they came here and they cleared this encampment out, and then it came right back. Look at them wheeling all their stuff out of the storage facility. This is the storage facility near the ICE building. You can actually see it from the ICE building. And whenever the encampment gets raided, they just pull their supplies out here. Look at all the tents where these people are living. All this stuff was probably in those storage units. This is so crazy. It's wrong for this to be allowed in America. This is not peaceful. They don't even have a right to be on this public sidewalk. And that's the problem with the Portland police. If they would just come here and enforce basic laws, you wouldn't have any of this insurrection going on in Portland. This is an officer right here, Portland police.
About us as
Think about this, guys. During the St. George Floyd riots, these asshole Democrats talked about defunding the police. You got to defund the police. And so when they defunded the police, what happened? Regular people, not a-holes that are rioting on the street, regular people in all their communities, right, started being affected by that. Crime was running rampant. People were getting harmed, right? So now what are they doing? Instead of saying defund the police, they're just saying don't do anything about this. Don't stop it. I mean, we're despicable people.
People don't we've been kind of getting late on something that I know isn't.
All right, Chris, good to see you again, man. Yeah, holler at me tomorrow, man. I'll be around.
Right.
If you see evil going on for so long and you stay silent and complicit and your city goes to shit.
I wouldn't say they stay silent. Our entire crowd control team.
Wow. I didn't know that. The Portland police crowd control team resigned. You know what? They were probably being demonized.
Yep.
They were probably being finger pointed at. The mob didn't want them there, so they called it quits.
I know.
I would say
It's anarcho-terrorism.
They can't do anything. They have no resources.
Guys, it's called anarcho-terrorism. It's and tyranny. It's when the government says, well, you know what? We're not going to protect the people that we're supposed to protect. Why we got elected to protect them, right? We're not going to do that. But we are going to allow this to happen because it serves
very simple. Why?
Because it serves a purpose for us.
It's very simple. Why? They want to keep everybody disarmed, afraid, disarmed.
Yes. And they want their unregistered Democrats to not be deported.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
They want the populace afraid. So
yes.
Because a population that's afraid is easier to manipulate. So they keep us disarmed and they keep the criminals on the street.
You nailed it.
Silence.
They're run by a mayor and a governor here that don't
I
like
need to
them.
do my job as a sworn law enforcement officer in Oregon and the city of Portland.
And you took an oath to protect the people of Portland, and your oath is being interfered by politics.
Well, that's then you help out, right? Or anybody can voice their opinion.
Right.
But me, I have to be neutral. I have to be.
It's so tough for these cops,
man. When your oath is being threatened, you swore an oath, and they're threatening that. You don't have to. That's not.
Dottie, who do you mean? The cops? Is that what you mean? Masking up? The police? Yeah, because I know that was a big thing where they said, they put masks on. Yeah, because the people doxed them and they went after their families at their houses. That's why they don't. You know what's really funny? Karen Bass's, the crowd, yeah, because they don't want to be caught on camera. Karen Bass's SWAT actually puts masks on for the same reason. For the same exact reason. Unreal. Hot take from Belfast. Terrorists terrorized. This is what you are seeing. Yep. I'm telling you, and this is in the United States, though. Yeah, I got it, Linda. Thanks. I didn't understand. I knew Dottie wouldn't be on the other side. I just didn't understand what she meant by that because I guess I should have read a little further up. Sorry, Dottie.
Yeah, and I guess in Belfast they know a little something about terrorists. So yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I never knew this. I always learned something when 40. I was going to be there last week to watch, but something came up. I'm sorry. I announced it here that I was going to, but I'll be there tomorrow though. I'll be watching tomorrow, man. But something that I learned from I never knew this that like the IRA and all, they're communists. I didn't know that. I never knew they were communists. I always bought the bullshit line. Well, I'm sure it's not bullshit, but the only reason was because they wanted the Brits out. They wanted to get out of all that. But I didn't know they were a bunch of commies. I didn't know that until 40 told me.
Yeah, I guess they're hand in hand with Hamas.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, they're hand in hand with Palestinian.
I don't know. But here we go. Whoops.
I just want to see the city better. That's all. I don't need you to be
This is
Republican
tough, man.
or anybody. I just need you to just speak up. You guys speak up when you get.
You know, and the other thing is this: if a Portland officer comes out and goes on Fox News or comes out and says, "I support Trump," that person's gone.
Oh,
they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Guys,
just
I'm
look at
curious.
who you're
We're always
dealing
talking
with.
about warfare and like people getting hurt. Why
This
would
guy.
why do we bring children here? Why would we?
Oh, there's children. They bring their children.
Like, please leave, please leave.
Well, you guys are always talking about injury and arrest and kids in zip ties. Why?
You know about filming children, right?
Look at this old woman.
Why
wearing
would you bring
a
kids to a
tiger
dangerous
costume.
place? Wait, it's not dangerous? No. You guys said the cops attack you every night. You guys said the cops attack you every night.
They do.
Okay, so why would you bring kids then?
Great question.
So why would you bring kids and have them stand here?
Put them in danger.
Because I think it's bad. I think it's wrong.
They're being exploited. These people are exploiting children for their political gain.
Yeah.
And if there's any political party in this country that is bad for children, it's these guys.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong to have kids here.
Pictures of the kids later.
No, I think it's wrong to have kids here. No.
Giving him content.
So don't touch me. Don't touch me with the umbrella. I'm going to break it.
Back off.
Okay, don't touch me with the umbrella.
Back off.
Go back with your back the blue boys over there.
Back off.
Back the blue boys. Yeah, they hate police.
You're MAGA blue
Touch me with the
boy.
umbrella again. I'm going to break it.
Umbrellas don't talk.
Look at these people.
Don't touch me with this.
Yeah, bump into it. You're walking into it.
They're acting all self-righteous. They're the ones that brought the kids to a riot. They brought the kids to a place where they're going to attack.
Have they arrested and deported any American citizens?
Good question.
You know what?
Who?
Which one?
Who?
I looked that up. Okay. And because Jimmy was going on a show. I don't even remember because we didn't talk, but he was going on a show and he was backstage and he was asking me some stuff. And I looked it up. And yes, American citizens were deported because it was accidental. They were caught up. Like they probably didn't have ID on them and they were caught up with a bunch of illegals that were grabbed and they went through the process. And I guess they didn't speak English. You're an American citizen, you don't speak English, right? And so they got deported. And from what I understand, they went and they brought them back. But that was the basis that judge that said the Garcia Brega, right? They said that that's why he was an American citizen. You can't deport him. No, he was never an American citizen. He was always an illegal. And it's, well, you know, you're sent. That's when they started saying, they're deporting U.S. citizens. Well, it's against the Constitution to try to deport a U.S. citizen. Now, if you're a citizen that was brought in and you were naturalized, they can denaturalize you and then deport you. They can do that, which they're talking right now about doing that to Ilhan Omar, believe it or not.
One.
Yeah, but
Which one?
Abrigo Garcia.
Yeah,
Look at them all looking.
I'll find him. I'll find him, motherfucker. I'll find him.
Let's look it up, please.
They're arresting Americans everywhere. All the
Look it up. Look it up.
Hide your kids, hide your wives. They're arresting all the Americans here. Whoever I am, you forgot my name after 0.3 seconds.
right to due process.
Okay, are you going to tell me what the?
Oh yeah, let's see this.
Are you going to tell me what American citizens have been arrested? And
I would
deported
love
by?
the answer to this.
Practically everyone.
So then show me.
Look it up. You got your phone. I'm letting you use your.
This
Well, I
person.
can't find it right now.
Just
Look at this.
If you ever wanted proof that smartphones make people dumb, here it is.
okay. How many more minutes do you need? You can't just one. I mean, the question I've been trying to get the answer to for the longest time: which Americans have been arrested and deported by ICE? Okay, right. So why make the claim if you?
They all believe it.
I want to ask a question. Why don't these people have jobs? They're like down there every single day. Why is this their job? Do they make enough to like support themselves?
Two different types of news
Doing this?
Okay, well,
They all believe that American citizens are being deported by ICE. They all believe that.
They also believe that people are being disappeared.
Now, I know why they believe this. You'll see a mainstream media headline that says, U.S. citizen arrested by ICE. What are they doing? Well, they're doing what the U.S. citizens at the Portland deportation jail are doing.
Right.
They're
That's
attacking
exactly
federal
right.
agents.
Right.
They're forcing altercations with federal agents during the course of an investigation, and they're winding up in handcuffs because of it. those are the U.S. citizens getting arrested. Now, those people don't get deported. Oftentimes they get released. And in many cases, they get released and nothing happens to them and they just go right back to the protest.
Her the opportunity to Google it, and she still can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
That old lady say, how do you Google it?
Look, they're all on their phones.
Still trying over there.
And I can't find. Look at her. And I can't find it.
How sad is that? All right. Can you answer my question though?
Yep, money.
Nope, you're wrong. You are wrong. He is a citizen of El Salvador. He is not a U.S. citizen, and he is here illegally with a final deportation order.
Does he?
Huh?
Yeah, he had a final
he has
deportation
a final
order.
deportation order.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
The Maryland man.
No.
Kilmar.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Who they were lied to and believed it.
All right, so you listened to the fake news, and that was wrong.
Toughest blind date in history.
Ending conversation. You're still trying?
I have it all right here, buddy. I have it all right here.
All right, let's go.
See all that?
I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Oh, Mahmoud Khalil.
Wikipedia?
The Colombian activist, who's also not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
And were abused.
170 U.S. citizens have been deported.
Under investigation for what's happening that are falsely arrested. Right now,
But they weren't deported.
So we don't.
They weren't deported.
Oh, we don't have, but you don't come up
If you attack ICE agents,
You're going to get arrested.
you're going to get arrested. Exactly. Thank you.
I don't come up with it because they're.
They ICE attacked. They arrested him. Yeah, because there's no local cops around because their bosses tell them don't get involved.
Now,
Right.
now there were I think it was 2 Americans, U.S. citizens, and these were young children that the illegal immigrant mother said, if you're sending me, I'm taking my kids with me.
Yeah.
And they weren't deported. The mother requested to have them come with her. That's different.
I think there was a case where there was a husband and wife, and the wife was illegal, so they deported her. And the husband said, "Yo, we got 3 kids. What are you doing?" And they said, "Oh, you're perfectly welcome to join her if you want to fly down there and live down there with her, or you can keep your kids here. We will let your kids go with her, or you keep them here. What do you want to do?"
Yeah. And there was at least
And
one
they went
that
with her.
There was at least one that I heard about. I think there was a couple of kids, and mother said, "No, I want to keep my kids with me." So they went with her.
Trump keeps families together.
Oh, and that's what they said about it too. We're keeping.
Yeah, it's
families
funny. They
together.
all know each other by name. Exactly. Let's watch the rest of this.
Right. That's the argument that these people want to make. They want to have you prove something that didn't happen. They're saying, hey, man, prove that no U.S. citizens have ever been deported by. It's never happened.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that that's ever happened.
no, you
can't
prove that it
something
has.
that didn't happen. That's ridiculous. These
prove a
people
negative.
are ridiculous. And the saddest thing about them is we're learning right now from this interview that they are all out here based on a lie.
Citizens deported under President Trump. So.
Doesn't matter.
All right, so you haven't found a U.S. citizen. You've been able to Google for 10 minutes now, and you haven't been able to find a U.S. citizen. You haven't been able to find a single one in 10 minutes now.
Taking a U.S. Oh, I love that he's not a U.S.
No, a green card doesn't make you a citizen.
Right, green.
It's also persons. No, it doesn't have to be a citizen.
Now, if you're illegal, you get deported.
I'm going to be clicked on the internet.
You're an illegal person.
She's
Okay,
mad
you're
because
right.
she's going to be on the internet.
Then I love the internet.
Phil's
Then I
on
love
the
the
internet.
idiot to say, "Well, you were an illegal alien too."
I feel bad for these people. They're out here
your
believing a
way.
So
lie.
you said Abrego Garcia as well, okay? Who is a citizen of El Salvador.
Out of my face.
These people don't want to have a conversation.
Now they get angry.
Because they don't even believe one fact. There is nothing legitimate about their presence on the streets in front of this building. There is nothing legitimate about their actions toward it. And even if these aren't the same people attacking the building, they all believe the same things. They support the people throwing crowd control munitions back at federal officers. This is very frightening. And it's a virus. People say that this type of thinking is a virus in their heads, and they're right. Because if everything you believe makes you act this radical and none of it's true, that's a big problem. What do you think about that? Thank you for watching. See you in the next.
How about that? How about that? Unreal, man. Stolen land in 3, 2, 1. Exactly. I love how they do that too. You know, you're an illegal alien. No, I always tell them, I go, no, I'm a Native American. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was native born here. There you go. This is the guy, Jade. This is
Yeah, that's kind of like when Trump brought Elon Musk up on the stage and he said he really, really liked having African Americans behind him.
I know. There you go. InfoWars breaking video. After directing the deep state's terror campaign against President Trump and the American people, former Obama CIA director John Brennan now claims he's a victim of political persecution. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Let's see.
Well, when these things happen, I certainly get mad. I get angry.
I'm not going to play the whole
I also
7
get
minutes.
sad that this is the state of our country.
Do you know, he is an avowed communist. And Obama had him up there as CIA director. He's a freaking communist. He voted for the Communist Party. He's a communist. So what was he doing in charge of the CIA?
The state of politics these days.
You know who else was a communist? Jade. There was another top person who's in trouble now who was a communist. Do you know who it was?
I'm listening.
Comey. They say he's a Republican too. That's why he shouldn't be upset about Trump. No, he's a communist too. He voted for communists himself.
The fact that, you know, individuals like a Jim Jordan are going to go after somebody. I served nearly 3.5 decades in public service.
And what does that mean? That means nothing, John. You weaponize the government against a candidate and then a freaking president. You lied to the U.S. Senate about your CIA spying on Republicans in the Senate. You lied. That's called perjury.
A lot involved in counterterrorism in the aftermath of 9/11. They don't care about doing things like this to destroy individuals, to go after me.
Wait a minute. Wait. He's talking about destroying individuals, the Republicans. The whole reason he's in trouble is because he started the Russian collusion thing after John McCain handed off that dossier to John Brennan. And then John Brennan handed it over to Comey because the CIA doesn't have arresting powers. They don't have police powers. So they couldn't arrest anyone. They were just an intelligence agency, right? So he hands it off to Comey. Comey says, yeah, okay, I'll use this. You know why they all did this shit? Because they all thought, like the New York Times told them, that Hillary had a 98% chance of winning, and they all wanted to keep their jobs. Brennan did it because he wanted to show that old warhorse that he could be useful to her. They thought all this was going to get swept under the rug. And what happened? Well, Trump happened.
Me and my family and others. And so, you know.
What about Trump's family? For God's sake, they tried to put his kids in prison. People forget that. Remember the whole Trump Tower thing? When they set up where they had this Russian woman that came in and they said that she had information on people that were trying to harm Trump. But the whole thing was a setup just to get Don Jr. in the room with her. And he spent like 30 seconds saying, well, what do you got? And she had an interpreter. And they were talking about there was a law that they wanted to be changed that was affecting her people from her country trying to come here and all. And he was like, you know what? This is a waste of time. And he got up and left. But because he was in that meeting, the Democrats tried to bring him before the DOJ and get charged. These people are despicable. And now he's whining because he may go to prison.
I'm saddened by what has happened. Sometimes I'm dispirited and disheartened.
Well, listen to
At
how
the
he
same time,
talks.
I feel motivated to be able to stand up. And I'm glad that other people are standing up as well. And I see that more and more people are starting to...
See, this is why I say they should really, when this shit leaks that they're going after him, they should have hit him up right away with the charges. They should have hit him up with charges. They shouldn't have leaked anything until those charges were there. That's what they should have done. King's video, especially the power on Trump is king. Yeah.
realize what Donald Trump is all about. And so I'm hoping that the Republicans in Congress, I know it's a wish that I've had for quite a while, they're really going to draw the line. And when they look at what's happened against the White House, it's such a vivid depiction and symbolic of what's going on to this country.
These two idiots.
But the abuse of power, the desecration of the rule of law, the fact that Donald...
Wait a minute. This is what kills me, man. This guy broke so many laws and so many rules of the intelligence community. And he's sitting here with a straight face. He's a psychopath. You got to be a psychopath to have his history, and he knows everybody knows it. And he's sitting on MSNBC, and he's literally saying these things that he's projecting it onto the Republicans, the things that he's done.
Trump continues to do these,
and he acts like he acts like he has no idea that he did all the things that he's saying that they're doing.
things. Why they continue to allow it? I think it's going to hurt the Republicans over in the long term.
Oh, I don't think so.
Just doing this right now to be able to satisfy.
I want to see him perp walked.
The whims of Donald Trump. I never thought we would face a situation like this.
We never thought that you would take a trash garbage dossier that the assistant attorney general told you was garbage because his wife wrote it, and that you would start the procedure of trying to get Trump arrested for colluding with Russia, even though that wouldn't be a crime anyway. That they tried to delegitimize Donald Trump. That's all they did. And they thought that Hillary was going to win. And then when Trump won, they had to cover their ass and they had to get him out. And
but the problem was, even after Trump won in 2016, they couldn't believe it. They kept misbehaving.
Right, because they were beside themselves. Look, the whole reason they went into the FISA system was because the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is because FISA it's a hidden network. Okay, it's behind the wall. So in other words, when you're an FBI agent and you're working a case, anybody can see that case. And they want to get some info. They're not allowed to change it. Only the officer that does the 302 after interviews, only he can do it. But when you're in FISA, none of the other agents. So you had a tight-knit group of agents that were pulling this bullshit off. And they didn't want anybody else knowing what they were doing. So they used Carter Page. And they knew, John Brennan again, they knew that Carter Page he would do business trips to Russia. He did business in Russia. Right. And the CIA always asked him, when you come back, can we debrief you? He went, yeah, sure. He was a patriot. Right. And he would tell them everything he learned and things that he saw while he was over there. Right. He did it he volunteered it. Right. Brennan knew that and didn't mention it when he sent it over, because they wanted someone that was involved in the Trump campaign so that they could say, yeah, he has ties in Russia, probably to the FSB. Right. Former KGB. And so they did that. And it was all, everybody goes, why the hell did they go? Well, it was because he was the Russian connection. Right. But then they had the 2-hop rule. The 2-hop rule says that if you get a FISA warrant on someone, then you are also allowed to spy on anyone that person is communicated with. Well, guess what? Carter Page, the position that he was in for that limited amount of time in the Trump campaign, he spoke to a lot of people in the campaign. So now they're spying on everyone through the 2-hop rule. This is what these pieces of crap did. And he's sitting here acting like he's the victim. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see them bring charges against him.
You never finished the Kurt Schlichter article.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
I appreciate that. The check is in the mail. In the House, we're not looking perfect. Well, I already read that. It's on us to win this thing, and we can. Personally, with the redistricting.
It's not up. Do you want it up?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. Personally, with the redistricting and with the Louisiana v. Calais, I think we're going to be on easy street. So it's on us to win this thing, and we can. Gerrymandering is going to help. The proper position on gerrymandering is to be actively in favor. And why not? They say, oh, God, they're just changing the map. Democrats do it every time they're in power. So why shouldn't Republicans do it? And the law in every state says the party in power has the right to redraw maps. So basically they're saying, well, we do it all the time, but we just don't like it when they do it. So it's illegal now. Really? I don't remember them voting on that. And after all, the designation of legislative districts is a quintessential political act. So no one should demand that legislatures shouldn't act politically to create those districts. When you act politically, you should act to advantage your own side. There's nothing wrong with that. Exactly. In fact, the real problem is when legislators fail to act in their constituents' interests, which is why the Democratic Party is in so much trouble. They wrote, that's why. He goes, Jimmy keeps sending me stuff. That's why I have no problem morally with my governor, Gavin Hairstyle, deciding to change all the rules that they had previously exploited to different rules that they can now exploit even more to utterly shaft the remaining Republican remnant in the golden brown state. Aesthetically, I find his fake babbling about how disenfranchising Republicans is necessary to protect our democracy. Geez, weasel. Have the cojones to admit you're just trying to win. Politically, I don't like it. I don't like anything that helps my opponents, but I'm not going to cry about it like a sissy or a Democrat. To the
same thing.
What's that?
Same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, same thing, right? To the extent those are different, sissies remain a vital component of the Democrat coalition. You were right on. Gerrymandering is just a thing. And was also just a thing when New York and Illinois did it to us. And it's just a thing. It's just going to be a thing when Texas does it to them. And when North Carolina, Missouri, Kansas, Indiana, and Florida do it to them. The difference is we're not going to whine about how democracy is dead and how we don't like kings and otherwise shred our dignity as we shred our garments mourning lost seats. The gerrymandering war will be won by the Republicans, and we will get several more seats out of it. It's going to be up to 25, which will help. But wait, just the other day, the Voting Rights Act, see, this guy's on target. The Voting Rights Act went before the Supreme Court. If that goes down, say goodbye to all the specially carved out black Democrat districts that litter the South, because the Democrats' version of Voting Rights Act requires states to create black Democrat voting districts. There may be up to 20 of them. And they seem likely to go poof. States like Louisiana and Georgia can then get in on the Gerrymandering Act and get rid of these moral and constitutional abominations, creating instead safe red districts. If this happens, the Democrats are completely screwed. So I always say that every single thing about the Democrats is fake. All these black districts, fake. They got a left-wing Supreme Court in 1986 that said, yeah, you can do it. It's fake. Now you'll hear that this is the end of democracy because apparently democracy requires, and I'm checking my notes here, that there be districts designed to favor one race and also favor one specific political party. If that's democracy, count me out. Yes, kings, if it means we get legislative representation without regard to race. I thought they were the ones that were against racism, right? They never were. Now on to the politics. Forget the shutdown. Now that Trump's getting the troops paid, no one but deadbeat federal employees cares. The big issue in 2026 will be the economy. That's really what will make the difference for both the House and Senate. If the economy is good, and it is, we win. If you have a 401k, things are already looking good. Mine's exploding. The elections are a little over a year away, but the other trends are positive. The economy could make or break the House majority, but even a major economic downturn is unlikely to shift power in the Senate because we have more states. Given the map and how they are flailing so far, yeah, I know the Democrats are all very excited about their retread candidates, but it's not going to work. They are going with stone losers. Here's a non-comprehensive summary. We'll get granular as the election season heats up, but you can already see the trends. One trend is to go crusty. In Ohio, they've defrosted Sherrod Brown to run again. Defrosted. Brown, a Buckeye State Bolshevik, who got punted from office by Bernie Moreno, is already losing union endorsements to the Republican Senator John Husted, who was appointed after J.D. Vance became our vice president. A Democrat in Ohio who can't even get the union guys to support him once that was about as likely as J.B. Pritzker passing up a Danish, but it's happening. I guess union guys hate pervs skeeving on their daughters in the locker rooms, too. Then there's the urge to try to elect left-wing loons. In a schizophrenic state of Maine, you've got an admitted communist. Yeah, do you ever hear about this guy, Graham Plattner? The dude has Nazi shit tattoos on him. And he was trying to explain it away. Graham Plattner, who likes to sell himself as an outdoorsy fisherman guy, there's nothing worse than hick libs taking on the ancient former governor Janet Mills. Oh, he's also an expert on how black people tip. And he's shocked to find the Nazi death's head tattoo on his chest is a Nazi's death head tattoo. Hey, that could happen to anybody. Clearly, he thought it was a different kind of death's head tattoo. This is exactly true. He literally explained, he's like, well, you know, when I was a young guy and I was fighting in the military, he goes, I did deployments, and he starts naming them all. Like, that's supposed to give him creds, right, for the tattoo. He said, yeah, one day, you know, they let young guys go on leave. And he goes, and what happens? He goes, when you're overseas, you get shit-faced drunk, right? And then you go into it, you find a tattoo parlor. It always seems to happen, you know. And he goes, so we saw this tattoo, this picture up on the wall, and we all thought it was cool, and we all got it. From what I hear, he was the only one that got it, but we all got it. You know, we didn't know that it was a Nazi thing. Anybody that looks at it goes, holy shit, that's a Nazi symbol. Well, let the Dems fight. It's young Pico with baggage versus slightly less Pinko crusty. After one wins the nom, Susan Collins, the hardest working retail politician in America and a moderate Republican perfectly suited for the maple syrup state, will punt the survivor through the goalposts of failure. Down in Texas, there's a three-way primary among the Republicans. Any of them will beat any of the Democrats, right? Because think about it. They just did that bullshit where they flew the coop, right? Colin Allred is Cory Booker in a Stetson. And that little weasel guy who looks like Pete Buttigieg, except he talks about church all the time, is not going anywhere either. The best that can be said about them is that none is a furry like Beto O'Rourke. In Georgia, we have a GOP free-for-all to go against John Ossoff. This is one of the Republican turnover opportunities, so we need to take this naturally GOP seat back from the Dems. But there is drama. Brian Kemp is promoting some guy who's a college football coach in some other state. Why? That guy is going nowhere. We need to get serious. Representative Mike Collins, whom I had a chance to interview the other day on the Hugh Hewitt show, seems like a smart guy. On the plus side, Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't get in the race after Trump told her to butt out, something she is certain to blame on the Jews and their mind control lasers. In North Carolina, Michael Whatley is running to replace Tom Tillis. North Carolina is trending blue, and it looks good for us. Even if I didn't know anything about Whatley, and what I know about Whatley, he was head of the RNC when it became successful. I would support him. I would literally support either Barkey or Bitey over the lefty former governor the Dems will nominate. In fact, I support my dogs over Tom Tillis, too. That goof won't be missed. In Kentucky, the ridiculous Amy McGrath, picture a middle-aged Greta Thunberg who won't stop tweeting lame Dem talking points, is running again. She wasted about 90 minutes. Can you believe they're bringing back all these old people? She wasted about, you know why? Because they're saying none of us could get elected. So let's bring the backbench. She wasted about $90 million last time trying to beat Cocaine Mitch, and let's hope she does just as well this time. Several folks are running for the Republican nomination. David Cameron lost the governor's race last time. That's bad. Andy Barr is a McConnell clone without the tactical savvy, who is softer than tofu. If you love amnesty, he's your boy. Hopefully, they will nominate Nate Morris, who is hardcore, and he'll clean her clock. So the answer is pretty much, I don't think we have a lot. Now, it's a year off. A lot could happen in a year. But I don't think we have too much to worry about, especially after we hear about the redistricting, how many seats we're actually going to get, and the Louisiana v. Calais. When that's over, then we're going to know what kind of situation we're in. And I don't think the Democrats have a clue how to get out of the trouble that they're in right now. And you can blame it. You can blame it all on COVID. I mean, think about it. They went tyrannical under COVID. You know, think about it. They forced laws on us that not a single legislator voted on. Wearing masks, right? Where did they get the power to do that? Wearing masks, 6 foot. You can't go to work. I mean, all that bullshit. All right, where did they get the right to do that? They didn't. They just made it up out of whole cloth and said, well, we're the guys with the guns. You have to comply or else. That's what they did. And, you know, the American people have a long history. And so they thought they were going to get away with it. And it's not going to happen. I mean, people have turned on them already. I don't think they're going to win the House. If anything, if either house they could win, it would be the House. But I don't think they're going to do it. Unless something major happens this year and next, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Yeah, trust the science, etc. Exactly. Let me see. What's next? I'm not doing Mondon. Oh, Stephen Miller. We got to hear him. Yeah. He slams De Niro. It's not real big, but he does slam him. So, U.S. Homeland Security Advisor, U.S. Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller called Robert De Niro a sad, bitter, broken old man after the actor bizarrely compared him to Adolf Hitler's propagandist, Joseph Goebbels. All right, so let's go here.
With reaction, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Homeland Security
I
Advisor
love this guy.
Stephen Miller. First, your reaction to Robert De Niro. I don't know. If it was me, I think I'd be hiring an attorney, and I'd be looking at suing for defamation. Number two, the master ICE tracker that they're putting on a website nationwide. Oh, that's going to make it really safe for ICE agents.
Well, Robert De Niro is a sad, bitter, broken old man who is mostly enraged because he has not made a movie worth watching in at least 30 years. Probably the longest string of flops, failures, embarrassments. This man has been degrading himself on camera with one horrific film after another for my entire adult life. And he's not taken seriously by anybody, not by his family, not by his friends, not by his community. Yep. He's a shell of a man, and everyone disregards everything he says.
Boom.
Let's talk about the threats to ICE officers. What we are seeing from the radical left, from the Democrat Party, is a direct frontal assault, attack on federal law enforcement, on the United States Constitution, and on the bedrock principle that the federal government is the supreme law of the land, that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. You have Democrats in New York City, for example, encouraging the rioters who are assaulting ICE officers, removing criminal aliens from their communities. You have Democrats trying to create tracking apps to tell the criminals, the fugitives.
Look at this bitch right here, the one that just turned her head in the purple blouse.
The rapists,
look at how
killers,
angry she is.
The cartel members, where and when ICE is going to be. You have Governor Pritzker trying to get ICE out of his city to protect illegal alien monsters who are committing crimes against children, against women, instead of protecting American citizens. This is a party that has embraced full-scale insurrection against the laws of the United States. You look at that arrest in Canal Street, for example, those 9 individuals, all illegal immigrants from Africa, almost all of whom were released into the country by the Biden administration. You have among them dozens of arrests, forgery, counterfeiting, drug dealing, narcotics trafficking, assault, battery, theft, domestic violence. And Democrats are saying these illegal aliens caught and released by the Biden administration not only should stay in our country, but they'll violently attack any federal officer who tries to remove them. And then more breaking news reported out by Fox's own Bill Maloogian. 3 people just died in California, killed by an illegal alien on the road, driving a semi-truck that was allowed into the country, caught and released by Joe Biden, and put on the road by Gavin Newsom. How much more blood has to be spilled by Democrats, Sean, before this madness stops?
Well, do you think this rhetoric is incitement? Do you believe that this is
aiding
and abetting? Do you believe
they're doing it for a
that
reason.
this tracking system is putting a target on the backs of law enforcement?
Yes, I believe it, and I know it. I talk to the ICE officers every day. You know, the director of ICE, as an example, Todd Lyons, They posted not only his address, but schematics of his house online to instruct terrorists on how to kill him in his home while he slept. And that's what we're up against, Sean. But President Trump will not be deterred. He's made D.C. safe. He's made Memphis safe. He's going to make Chicago safe and Portland safe. And he's going to make America safe for all Americans.
And they've been targeting you and your family, too. This has to end. And if you're aiding and abetting, frankly, I think those people should be arrested.
Yeah, I think the politicians that are doing this, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm just doing politics," you know. No, you're doing a lot more than politics. A lot more than just politics. Here, I'm going to play this one too. About Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, that idiot.
The guy with like the 5% approval rating.
Yeah, hang on. Let me see. Where is it? Okay, sorry. Here it is. Ready?
Mayor Brandon Johnson. Look up here. Look up here.
Let me explain. In Chicago, I think it's every week. There's one day that the mayor must. This is like a city council meeting that are public. The mayor must stand on the stage and listen to everybody that wants to talk to him. And from what I understand, he's not allowed to interrupt or respond.
Look up here. You got a real South Shore resident up here. Not no paid protester. Not somebody that's paid with a 501c3. You got a real live South Shore resident at this mic. Now what you're going to do for the citizens of South Shore and the black people of Chicago, you're going to stop with all this fake black facade you're doing. You're going to stop that. Because first of all, you're going to deal with the fact that word on the street is you're a Haitian. And if that be the case, that explains a lot. But if you're not, we're going to dethrone this self-acclamation you gave yourself at that Black Caucus thing, where you said that you're the freest black man in America right now. I dare you insult black men like that. You are far cry from that. You're sitting here talking against Trump, trying to make him look this way or that way, when we right here this morning saw you misuse the police department to violate our rights as citizens. You told them that they cannot participate in getting these illegal immigrants while you sat up here and misrepresented that raid on South Shore Drive. Like black people was getting beat up and all that over there. You know that's a lie. I live over there, and black people over there, we kicking in and we chilling because ICE ain't looking for us. And you know they're not. They're coming to get what we asked our president to do, and that was to engage in mass deportation, to get these illegals out of our country. We are coming for them seats. Do you understand that? And while you got these people up in here acting like they pro-police, if they really was about the police, against the police, whatever the case may be, they deal with that Laquan McDonald Act so that we can get y'all up out of that seat. Yeah, you wipe your face. Yeah? You wipe your face because you're probably out breaking out in the sweat. Let me tell you something. We coming for them seats. And at first, I said it to you. Then it spread it to city council. But now you're going to mess with the black people of America and American citizens by being a fraud and showing the Democratic Party by how lousy they really are. Black people in America, American citizens, y'all say it along with me. From the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. The Democratic Party, we're putting y'all on alert. All across of America.
Right.
We're coming for them seats. That's right.
Oh, man. You gotta love that, guys.
That was a mouthful.
I'll tell you what, Chicago has been really big on anti-government in their city, especially on Johnson. I mean, and it was all because Johnson accepted those, what was it, like 25,000 illegals, something like that the Biden admin brought into the country, and that Governor Greg Abbott of Texas sent there. That was the greatest thing that he ever did, man. So he sends them there. And I remember early on, they were complaining in the street saying, yo, we pay taxes for all the resources of the city, and they're all eaten up by these illegals that don't belong here. We don't want them here. Right? Because then illegals, what happens is the government starts putting them into hotels and renting houses and putting them in there. Then the cost of housing goes up. Right? And the American citizens didn't do a damn thing to cause all that. All right. So they get screwed every single time. The guy named Johnson, he's a real dick. That was funny, actually. Woody Johnson. He's a guy with a unicorn coming out of his head. Yeah. All right. Here we go. This is Nancy Pelosi. So the DOJ warns California officials to stand down or face prosecution after threats to arrest ICE agents. You got to be kidding me. So let's see. There she is. Let's make it a little bigger. Come on. All right. So U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, sorry, I gave him a promotion, issued a formal letter to top California officials Thursday, warning them against any attempts to arrest or impede federal law enforcement officers enforcing immigration laws. They can't do it. The letter addressed to Governor Gavin Newsom, State Attorney General Rob Bonta, Representative Nancy Pelosi, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins stressed that federal agents and officers are carrying out lawful duties, and any interference by state and local officials is both illegal and futile. Jay, I put this up to, I call it the totem pole effect. That you get Democrats, they're like, they got to say something against Trump and something against ICE, and then the next one they get like a lot of, oh yeah, she's for us. And then the next Democrat goes, I got to top that. So they get, outrageous. And then the next one has to top that one. And so eventually they get to the freaking ridiculous where they say, well, I'll arrest ICE agents if they come in here. And that's where we're at, because it's just they have no common sense. They don't know, because of years of getting their asses kissed by the news media. They didn't realize that one day, a conservative news media would come in and show that they're all full of crap on the left. And so now they still think, these old timers like Pelosi, they still think that they're going to get that protection. They don't realize they don't have it anymore. So they're not getting away with anything. The letter was sent after Pelosi, former House Speaker, and Representative Kevin Mullen from California issued a statement Wednesday threatening to arrest federal agents if they break law. Now, how can Nancy Pelosi arrest anyone or this representative? How are they going to arrest anyone? If convicted, the Democrats noted President Donald Trump cannot pardon agents because it will be a state thing, right? Reports of a planned mass immigration. I think, because they did the right thing. They sent a message out saying, we're going to arrest you if you think you can do that. Reports of a planned mass immigration raid in the Bay Area are an appalling abuse of law enforcement power, Pelosi and Mullen wrote in a statement. It's unbelievable. While the president may enjoy absolute immunity courtesy of his rogue Supreme Court, those who operate under his orders do not. The people of San Francisco will continue to stand with the patriotic immigrants. She forgot the word illegal, who are the constant revigoration of America. No, they're not. See, they don't give a rat's ass about the real immigrants that come in here through illegal port of entry. They don't care about that. Not one bit. Blanche shared his response. So California politicians want to arrest federal agents for enforcing federal law. We just sent them a letter. Stand down or face prosecution. No one threatens our agents. No one will stop us from making America safe again. And guys, that's the whole thing. When you think about it, the ICE agents are trying to get criminal, illegal aliens who really don't give a rat's ass what they do here. The criminal one, they don't give a rat's ass what they do. And they're trying to get them out of these communities. But the woke mind virus hit all these people. I mean, you saw all those people attacking, all the ICE agents and whatnot. We just watched Nick Sorter. He had all those people arguing. They're deporting U.S. citizens. It's like, just shut the fuck up already. People don't know what you're talking about, and yet they're so involved in it. It's like a Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know, a summit of Dunning-Kruger effect nominees for awards and shit. It's just, they're so stupid. But you think about it, what else do they have to do? I mean, Democrat politicians have lost power. In California, what can they do, right? They can run their state, but what can they do, right? So now they got their people actually attacking federal agents who are trying to help them. It's just unbelievable. Sent some streaming next week on his channel. Oh, wow. Cool. They sent some here. I haven't seen him in a while. I hope he's all right. Let me see. Who else is here? Yeah. People prefer the comfort of opinions to the discomfort of the facts. If JFK said that, dude, perfect quote. I believe he did, but perfect quote.
Yeah, I've often said you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Exactly. That's exactly it. All right, we got time for one more. Well, let's play a couple videos because I haven't played like a lot of the videos. Hang on. Because there's some good ones. Let's see. Brave Men Cross Biblical Woke Church. Oh, yeah, this one was good. Okay, let me get past before I put it up. I'm going to get past all the commercials. This one's good. It was this guy goes into a church and just starts talking to them. And where do you hear? I would love to interview this guy. I would love to get him on here. Here we go. Let's bring it up.
I guess that's why I'm here today. You said arrows cause us to move, right? And get up and speak out and say something. And that's why I'm here today, to tell all of you guys that you need to repent, or you should all likewise perish.
Church.
Because are you familiar with 1 Corinthians 6:9? That says the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God. And that list that's in Corinthians 1 Corinthians 6:9, right? The idolater, the fornicator, the adulterer, the homosexual, the reviler, the covetous, the drunkard will not inherit God's kingdom. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing all this LGBTQ stuff, and that has no place in God's kingdom. The Bible says, what fellowship does light have with darkness, right? The Bible says that a man should not allow another man as he does a woman. So, what, like, ma'am,
come with me?
No, I don't want to come with you. I'm saying you guys need to repent. You guys are sweet people. I thank you for the welcoming, but at the end of the day, God has called us to holiness and righteousness, right? To not stay in our sin. So can you appreciate that? That's real love. What time are you gonna be done? because we could talk, but I'm just saying this needs to be publicly announced.
This guy's so right.
You guys need to repent.
They need to tell the whole congregation.
Guys, I see a lot of old people in this church. You're going to meet Jesus really soon. And are you prepared to meet Jesus? The real Jesus, not the affirming Jesus, not the all-inclusive Jesus, but the real Jesus who's coming back to slay everybody still in their sin, right? As the Lion of the tribe.
You hear all the people cheering?
The Bible says in
that's not
Psalm
sound
5
being put in.
He hates the workers of iniquity and those who speak falsehood. And you're leading all these people astray. So
Wasn't that something, man?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You know, I follow him, but you know, I've told you before, Rich. I worry about me. Honestly, other people around me. I don't care how you dress. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't. You know, That's not.
Right.
Do you love this country and want to see it succeed?
Exactly.
That's my question.
Hang on. This is a great one. You'll like this. Here we go. So let's see. Let me bring it up. This is funny. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Ready?
So what qualifies you for this job?
I'm an Afro-Latina, left-handed, non-binary, dyslexic, bisexual, Mennonite, first-generation immigrant woman with a collapsed lung, and I'm an organ donor.
So what qualifies you for this job?
Play it again.
I'm an Afro-Latina, left-handed, non-binary, dyslexic, bisexual, Mennonite, first-generation immigrant woman with a collapsed lung, and I'm an organ donor.
Now that's AI, because whenever you see this Sora here, if you see that on a video, it means it's AI, because Sora is an AI generator. But
what qualifies you for this job?
Ain't that?
I'm an Afro-Latina, left-handed, non-binary, dyslexic, bisexual, Mennonite, first-generation immigrant woman with a collapsed lung, and I'm an organ donor.
So what qualifies you for this job?
Unbelievable.
WTF. That's all I got to say.
I know. But I think that's right. Dyslexics of the world, untie. I like to say that I belong to DAMP, which is Polish Mothers Against Dyslexia. Yeah, DEI. Overqualified, exactly. Hey, what's up, Willie? What's going on? Good to see you. Let's see, we got time for one more video if I could find one. Here we go. I did the Carrie Lake. 480,000 plus illegal immigrants arrested under Trump. You have to love that. Drops biblical. Yeah, we'll play that one.
How about something about Mehdi Hassan there towards the bottom? Why don't we do that?
About
one?
who?
The one about Mehdi Hassan.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. That should be a good one.
Yeah, the Mehdi Hassan online tantrum. Yeah, is there a video of him? I don't think there is, but it's still good. You guys know who he is, right? He's a British Muslim guy that, what was he on, MSNBC? One of the two he was on. Let's bring it up. Oh, come on, Rich. Mehdi Hassan. Yeah, this guy. Yeah. Mehdi Hassan has a tantrum as Americans inform him they don't want Islamic call to prayer in their neighborhoods. Now, they started out, I think it was in Texas, they had this, and the police chief came out and said, you know, we hear church bells, and you know, I don't see any difference in that. Well, there is a big difference, because if they started blasting the Lord's Prayer, right, it's a big difference than just church bells going off every hour, like, you know, just does the ding of the hour, and then at 12 o'clock it plays, you know, the song. It's a hell of a difference from that and having the call to prayer, which reminds everybody they want to behead us because they don't want to assimilate. Now, I'm not talking about all Muslims. I'm talking about the ones that are fighting to have the call to prayer in towns that don't want to hear it. So former MSNBC host Mehdi Hassan lashed out online after Americans pushed back against his defense of the Islamic call to prayer being played in U.S. neighborhoods. We don't need that, okay? The Islamic call to prayer, or Adhan, is broadcast 5 times daily and serves as a prominent auditory reminder of faith across Muslim communities. Hassan went on an extended rant on X, blasted what he called right-wing intolerance and claiming Muslim Americans face growing hostility from conservatives. I could guarantee that at least, I would say 90% of Democrat voters, not the extra chromosome type down at that bottom 10%, the progressive whack jobs, but I would say like 90% of the Democrat voters would not want to hear that either. So it's not hostility from conservatives. They wouldn't want to hear that shit either in their neighborhood. Quote, I think that if you can play church bells, you can pray the Islamic call to prayer. We are as American as anyone else and don't take any BS, Hassan can be heard saying in a video that was circulated on social media Tuesday. Republican Texas Representative Brandon Gill quoted the video. Let's see if this is the video. Let me see if it is. Yeah, it is. Hold on. We'll play. How many? It's only 6 seconds. Hold on. It's not worth it. Let me see. Yeah, it's the same thing what I just read anyway. But Hassan responded by pointing out that Gil's wife is Indian American and the daughter of an immigrant. The congressman's father-in-law was prominent Christian conservative documentary filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Gil, in return, responded to Hassan, pointing out that his wife is a Christian who doesn't want to hear your oppressive Muslim prayer calls. He added, if you want to live in a Muslim country, go back to the UK. Oh, boy.
Oh,
Hassan,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, in England, in London, anyway. Hassan was born and raised in England to Muslim parents from India. Hassan fired back, accusing Gil and other Republicans of bigotry, of course, because you got nothing else to say. Hassan wrote, multiple sitting GOP members of Congress now sound like the Ku Klux Klan. They can't, because the Klan was Democrat. The wizards, the levels of ignorance, racism, and Christian nationalism. See, he had to throw in Christian nationalism are off the charts. Good luck to the poor Muslim Americans who have to live in this guy's district. Let's see. Hassan also targeted the Daily Wire's Matt Walsh, who came back with a really good one, who said that America was built by free men, not slaves, during an exchange that was sparked by Walsh's quote of the viral video featuring the ex-MSNBC host. He writes, this country was not built by slaves, much less the handful of Muslim ones owned by 2% of the Americans who ever had slaves to begin with. The vast majority, wow, we're going to have to go up, sorry, to read the rest of it. So he said, the vast majority of infrastructure and industry in this country was built by the labor of free men, which included Black and Muslim people. All right, every Muslim country on the planet had slavery for exponentially longer and relied on it exponentially more than the U.S. ever did, especially the Arabs. Like the Arabs would work a slave to death because they'd just buy more slaves. The American realized that because the Americans were capitalists, they realized you don't work a guy to death because then you just wasted like everything you invested in this guy, right? It sounds horrible, but that was the difference. So that's what that was.
But you know why they don't have populations of African extraction in the Middle East?
Right. Which is why go ahead.
But you know why?
Go on.
Well, because when they got the slaves, they castrated all the men.
Yeah. Which is why Western countries had to shut down the Arab slave trade by force. Anyway, you're a British Muslim who came here 10 years ago, so I don't expect you to know anything about my country, and you don't. Gotta love that. All right, guys, it's time. 3 hours goes by so quickly, doesn't it?
Especially when you have Mark on.
Yeah, I know. So, all right, guys, so do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. It helps. Again, we say it every week. Bring friends, please.
Come back next week.
Bring friends.
Bring friends.
Yeah, bring some friends.
Make sure they sign in on a different computer, though.
That's exactly right, Angela. Every single race has had it. It goes back to what? Biblical times, as a matter of fact.
Well, in this country, probably the original slaves, if you want to talk about it that way, were Irish and Scottish indentured servants.
Oh, yeah, they were indentured servants. But you know what the difference was that they didn't tell you? Like I'm not saying anything against the slave trade and all that. I mean, horrific. And when Black Americans today say that they want reparations, I believe they should get them from the Democratic Party and not from a single taxpayer dime, because it wasn't America that did it. See, that's, they say the devil's greatest trick is to convince you that he doesn't exist. That's what the Democrats do. They say, well, America, like you see Democrats today standing up, even Black Democrats, well, America treated Black people hard. No, your party did. At the time the Civil War broke out, not a single Republican owned a slave. That is a fact. There were 4 million in the country. Not a single Republican owned a slave. Okay, so don't give us that bullshit. It was your party. It was the Democratic Party, and you guys are responsible. So, but every race did have slaves. That is correct. But the thing about the indentured servants was, did you know that by the end of their servitude, they were supposed to be paid? They They didn't get to pay. Do you know what they
Pretty much
got?
didn't get paid.
They were murdered instead. In fact, about, I think, 20 miles from where I am, they found over 300 graves. And when they did the analysis on all Irish descent, and they believed they were indentured servants from the towns there, and they found a place to bury them all because they did not want to pay them off.
They came over as nannies and housekeepers, as indentured servants,
That is
Scottish
right.
and Irish.
Right, because they were indentured servants because they didn't have the money to come over on a boat, so it was paid for them, and then the return was they had to work for a family for free, but then they were supposed to get paid, not for all their time that they worked, the 4, 5, 6 years. And a lot of them were treated like family as well. A lot of them, like regular maids, they were treated like family by the families, right? But they were supposed to be paid, and a lot of them were murdered because they didn't want to pay.
My grandmother came over like that. My grandmother came from Waterford in Southern Ireland, in the south of Ireland, and she came over with the family.
Oh, wow.
And she was very young, but she was tending to the family.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I just got something. Yeah, I just got something. Let's do this one last video. One last one, because it's pretty good. I think I saw this before. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Is no longer a democracy.
We never were a democracy. We've always been a constitutional republic. But I've said this in the past. Imagine it being cows. A constitutional republic is where you have 2 cows. You elect representatives to make laws about cow ownership and milk distribution. But their power is limited by a written constitution that protects your right to own and milk cows. Pure democracy is where you have 2 cows and your neighbors vote on who gets the milk. Representative democracy is where your neighbors elect somebody to decide on who gets the milk. Socialism, what you guys are all fighting for, is where you have 2 cows and your neighbor has no cows, so the government takes one of your cows and gives it to your neighbor. Fascism is where you have 2 cows and the government takes your 2 cows and sells you some milk. Capitalism is where you have 2 cows, you sell one, you buy a bull, and then you start a herd of cows. Bureaucracy is where you have 2 cows, the government takes both, loses one of them, milks the other one, and then throws the milk away. Totalitarianism is where the government takes both of your cows, denies they ever existed, and then boom, you get drafted. Surrealism is where you have 2 giraffes, and then the government requires you to take harmonica lessons.
You got to love that.
That was cute.
Yeah, it's always good. Yeah, I never voted for cows either.
I always think of pure democracy being 3 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
Yeah, I always said that democracy is there's 3 people and 2 of them voted that they get to keep everything the third guy owns and beat the shit out of him every Friday. That's democracy. It is. All right, people, we are out of here. Thank you very much for spending your time here. You guys are awesome as usual. I was laughing throughout a lot of what was going on tonight. Yeah, we got the greatest chat, don't we?
You guys are great.
We just do, man. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. So you guys have a great week. Have a wonderful week. God love you all. We're out of here. Hit that like button if you can, please. Thank you, people. Take it easy. Yeah, democracy is a myth. You're right, Angela. Take care, people.